What's up? What's up? What's up? We back in the place to be right here on the panel with Player's Choice. You know who I got with me. I got my man Big Ox Media in the house. I got Chill Town Hoops. I got Do Rag Mars Talk Sports in the house. It's a different channel now. Y'all knew Mars Talk Sports. We got Do Rag Mars Talk Sports now. It's a whole different beast, man. Whole different beast. What's up, fellas? How you feeling today?
Mars, that 3-0 comeback that you was talking about, it died yesterday, unfortunately. Unfortunately, it died yesterday. However, Connor McDavid, who is the best player in hockey, he did win the Finals MVP, and they lost. That did happen.
How do you feel about that?
The hockey David West, or
I don't love it.
Jerry West.
I don't like it at all, to be quite honest with you, because I mean I feel like T'Chuk had a damn good series, and the fact that you lose, that doesn't make you the Finals MVP. As good as you are, no, winning matters.
Okay.
Winning 100% matters.
Isn't that though? Like with hockey, isn't it the playoff MVP?
I think it's the Smythe Trophy. That's
yeah, but I'm pretty sure that's. I don't know if it's Finals MVP though. I think it's playoff MVP.
The whole playoff,
the whole entire.
Yeah.
Oh.
If I'm not mistaken, if I'm wrong, let me know.
The chat saying it's the playoff MVP.
It's the whole playoffs.
So does that change things?
Now, if it's the whole playoffs, I'm good with that, because I think he led the. I think Connor McDavid. He led the whole playoffs in scoring. Not only did he lead the whole playoffs in scoring, I think he was second in assists, something crazy like that. So, yeah, he's pretty awesome.
Interesting.
And by the way, it was a dogfight last night too.
So what if you only make it to what if you don't make it to the finals? Should you be able to get the playoff MVP if you lose in the conference finals?
No,
has to be a finals team.
Yeah, because
I think it usually is too.
Yeah,
you only play if you only play one round, and you were awesome. That doesn't mean you were better than the guy who played 3 rounds and he was awesome too.
How many rounds is it in hockey? Is it just like
it's the same thing in basketball? You got the first round, you got the semis, you got the East Finals, and you got the NHL Finals.
And they're all 7-game series.
Yes.
Okay. So
could you win the MVP and not go to the finals?
Yeah, I mean 3 rounds. 3 rounds of dominating. If you lose in that 3rd round, since
you got to go
MVP.
Here's the difference, though, Mars. You can't win the playoff MVP and lose in round 1 in 7 games, as opposed.
Yeah, I don't think that would ever happen.
Yeah. No, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. The semifinals, if you go 7 games and you lose, I just don't. I don't value losing when you're talking about MVPs in championship series. I think you got to win.
I think it would have to be conference finals or 3rd round. I don't know what they call it. 3rd round at worst. I don't think you could do it in the 2nd round, but I wouldn't be shocked if one day there's a conference finals playoff MVP if they played exceptionally and no one in the finals teams played at a fantastic level. I could see it.
I seen that. You seen that super chat? Or not super chat? You seen that chat from Taylor?
No, I didn't.
So the Commissioner Cup Championship is tonight. It's the Lynx versus the Liberty.
The Lynx and the Liberty get it on tonight. That should be a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For the Commissioner's Cup, it's the championship, Commissioner Cup Championship.
Yeah, that should. And I've been sleeping on Ox. Maybe you can fill me in on her. She plays for the Lynx. Is it
Nafisa?
Nafisa. Apparently. I mean, I saw a little bit of her, but
it ain't no apparently.
But
it ain't no apparently.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I've seen a little bit of her. I haven't seen much of her, but I've seen a little bit of her. And one-on-one getting downhill, I ain't really seen a lot of girls that can stay.
We seen her hit the game winner in Seattle last season. She was getting busy, but yeah, she's dope. I think Ron got her as the best player in the W.
I don't got her as the best player. She's my favorite player in the WNBA.
Those two things are not the same. Those two things are not the same. The favorite player and the best player. Dominique Wilkins, my favorite player. He wasn't the best in the game. I could get with that.
Chill, man.
Sure.
Hey, and so Tay Luke, he said he got Jonquel Jones getting the Commissioner's Cup MVP tonight.
I could see that.
I got Nafisa. Y'all know how I rock with the Liberty. I got Nafisa tonight.
I want to know what all this buzz is about. Man, Ron, you brought it up. We talked about free agency. Like, are we overrating Paul George as a free agent, even though he's not? Are we overrating him? I mean, how many more years you think Paul George got at this level?
Depends on where he goes.
Because people value him.
Underrating him. But go ahead. I actually think we underrating him.
And the reason why I'm asking this is because Paul George isn't what he's still awesome, but he's not what he used to be. And what I mean when I say that is, from an explosiveness standpoint, it's still there, but it's not what it used to be. From a bucket standpoint, a lot of the stuff that Paul George, from a defensive standpoint, I feel like he's a reputation defender more than he is the elite defender that he used to be. So with that being said, at 34 years old, going into opening night, how is Paul George valued? He already told us that he's not a number one on the championship team. He already told us that. So with him being on, I don't know, Philly, how does that work with him being in Philly, playing with Joel Embiid, who Nick Nurse now has him playing on the block? He's never played with a big man like that, playing off a guy like that, having to have the ball in his hands more. How does that work with him? I'm just thinking, I don't think Paul George is whack. I still think he's elite. I'm just thinking, are we overvaluing him at this point in his career?
Well, chill. I've heard you say that before a bunch of times about Paul George saying he's not a number one. It doesn't matter if he says that. Paul George has shown that. We know he's not a number one. It don't matter what you say, PG. We know this already, right? I think in Philly, he doesn't have to be. You got Joel, but you got Tyrese Maxey. You know what I'm saying? Paul George don't got to be dancing with the ball all day. You can let the young fella dance a little bit. You kind of step back. You kill. You be the killer when you got to kill. You just do your thing. I think over there in Philly with if Buddy Hield over there shooting too, I think Philly might be the best place and only place for PG. I don't like him in Dallas. I like OG in Dallas. I like somebody like that in Dallas. Jeremy Grant. I don't like PG in Dallas. I like PG in Philly.
Do they lose him though? Do the Clippers lose him? Because it's obvious we can't run it back. Because what we just did and getting handled by Dallas, it's obvious that where we are is not close. So we can't run it back, even though they ain't Kawhi Leonard to an extension, sure. And I understand it, but I don't understand it. Off the strength that they're opening up a new arena. With them opening up a new arena, we can't introduce Russell Westbrook, Zubac, and Terrence Mann. We can't do that. No, that's just not good for business. But with that being said, Kawhi Leonard has proven over the last couple of years that he can't hold up. He's proven that. So, okay, you ink him. Paul George is getting older. I think he's only got 2 more years at this level. What kind of price tag are we talking about with Paul George? Because he comes off the books at $48 million. He ain't taking less money unless we're going for years. So what are we doing with Paul George with the Clippers? And if he goes to Philly, is Philly going for 50? Is he going to be on the books for $50 million with the 76ers at age 37? Yikes.
Yeah, but you get him at 34 first.
Okay. And I'm getting 2 years. We already been down this road before with James Harden. Right? Yeah. We went down this road before with James Harden, and we still right where we were 2 years ago in the semifinals. Because that's why you signing these dudes, Ron. You ain't signing these dudes just off the ticket sales. Because you got arguably the best player in the league in Joel Embiid, one of the best players in the league. So you're going to sell tickets. You got the league MVP. You're going to sell tickets. You signing guys like Paul George because you're trying to get over the hump. That's the idea. And is Paul George proven that he can help get us over the hump? For $50 million, which I don't know if this sounds crazy, Ox, but in 2 years, is $50 million going to be a bargain?
Yeah, it will be, but I mean, not for Paul George. not when he's 37.
Hell no.
Oh man, I don't really got PG like that right now today. Right. I'm not too sure about PG. So that's what I'm saying. In 3 years, I'm positive he's going to be all the way on the other side of things.
Yeah. Well, let me put it like this. Paul George is obviously no Kevin Durant. But let me not say it like that, because Paul George is one of them when he wants to be. When at his best, Paul George is one of them.
That's the problem right there, Ron.
He's not. Hold on, right quick. He's not KD. Right. He's not LeBron. And he's not Steph. But we have seen all 3 of these guys age gracefully. And Paul George has had an injury history too.
Mhm.
But here's more so what I'm getting to. Paul George can be a catch and shoot guy. Paul George can essentially lower his role into being an elite 3-and-D guy.
For $50
that
million,
much,
Ron?
that much money, Ron?
Essentially a Klay Thompson was.
Not for $50 million.
But Paul George don't shoot nothing like Klay Thompson, bro.
But he does other things much better than Klay Thompson. But check me out though. Check me out. I'm not doing this to compare him with him and Klay.
Right.
What I'm saying is he can slot next to Joel Embiid, who's going to be elite for the next 3 seasons. Obviously, barring health, but you're expecting him to be elite for the next 3 seasons. Tyrese Maxey, who's only going to get better. If he stays as good as he's at right now, perfect. He's a 27-a-night guy, 26-a-night guy. So you got 2 high-level scorers, and then you slot in Paul George, who fits. Paul George is almost essentially like Kevin Durant, where you say he's a plug-and-play guy. He's able to play on. I think Paul George can fit on all 30 rosters seamlessly.
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there, Ron. Stop right there, because I'm hearing, and I'm glad you brought that up, him fitting on all 30 rosters. When I heard about Paul George possibly with Houston, I don't like that at all. And the reason why I don't like that at all is because number one, I don't want him near my kids. They doing something in Houston.
Paul George?
I don't want him next to my kids. And the reason why I don't next to my kids, not because he's a bad guy. I don't think that he's a bad guy at all. But they're developing something in Houston. And a 34, 35-year-old guy who needs the basketball, who's looking to score, that's not helping my kids. In fact, that's slowing up my kids. I don't want that on my roster. And on top of that, what he's going to cost, I think that's going to screw us up. That's number one. Number two, where he fits the best depends on what he's willing to do as a player. Because this is what I'm talking about when I talk about overrating guys. Paul George, at this stage of his career, what is he? Like Ox, you just told me. He's a plug-in guy, and he can play off the basketball. But you saw him with the Clippers. He's still one of their guys who they get the basketball to. He's still one of their more dominant ball handlers. He's still one of their guys who dominates the basketball. So he's not just going to step back. Not at this stage of his career. He still thinks he's that dude.
Yeah. Chill. I'm saying he can play that role perfectly. Like he can be, and I don't even like doing this, but he can be the Michael Jordan of that Tobias Harris role where I just sit in the corner and play defense. And that's also my thing too. Paul George coming over there to replace Tobias Harris, that is a major upgrade. A major upgrade. But also too, do play with James Harden, who's very ball dominant. He played with Kawhi Leonard, who was the number 1 option on that team. He played with Russell Westbrook, and he played with all them other guys on the Clippers. I'm assuming he can play with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey as well.
Yeah. Well, I said that earlier too. I like that fit, if any fit for PG is Philly, right? But kind of like Chill saying, I think it's time for PG to step back, and it's not just PG. Like even KD now. I'm even looking at guys like Kevin Durant and Paul George. Like the young boys are spanking y'all. You know, y'all need to be honest. Like y'all be right as that number 1. I'm the guy. Give me the ball. I'm gonna eat. KD just got whooped. PG didn't do much better. It's like y'all. It's about time for y'all to go maybe team up with guys like Joel Embiid and those guys. It might be about that time if we're being honest. Like Jalen and Jason, they just got one, and you see what he did to KD. Yeah, man, these young boys are trying to take over. Shea, all these guys.
They're not trying to. They are.
Right. It's time for something to happen. Or these guys just going to be, what they say, Chill, send them out to pasture. Yeah,
they're about to be glue.
Right.
That's what they're about to be glue. Yeah.
Yo, Marsh,
they're about to be.
How do you feel about Paul George in Indiana? And if you don't like that, what's another fit that you like?
They can afford him in Indiana, or is that just we just?
I said Indiana. I'm in Philadelphia. Yeah. Somebody in the chat said he should go back to Indiana. That's what made me see that. I'm in Philadelphia, but I mean, how you like what's coming home?
I don't think he's gonna go to Philly. I think I've seen a clip of him on his podcast talking about how there's people, you learn about people in different front offices and how that deters you from wanting to play for people like that, it's pretty clear he's talking about Daryl Morey. So I don't think he has an intention of playing for Daryl Morey. So I don't think he wants to go to to Philly.
Sure.
But in terms of a basketball fit, I think it's cool. Paul George can play with him without the basketball. Smaller offensive role. His defense can still be very good. And you get another scorer who's good in the half court. Now, you're still going to be lacking in terms of a downhill threat outside of Maxey, but I mean, can't get the perfect player. So I think Philly should go after Paul George, but I don't think he'll go there. The stuff I've been seeing is Paul George to Golden State as a Klay replacement. So Ron, if you really think he can play that Klay role, I mean, that's the best spot for him to go and do it.
Yeah.
That's all I've seen. PG to Golden State. I think that can help them. You get a wing who can play both sides of the ball, can shoot, can create their own shot. It's really just ultra super duper budget Kevin Durant. Maybe they think they can just run it back and have PG as their KD. Ideally, they keep Wiggins in this situation, but that's what I've really seen.
Question, Mars. So the Paul George to Philly. So essentially, he's doing this, or he's not going to do this, off the strength of the information he got from James Harden.
I'd assume so. Yeah.
So don't get me wrong. Okay, I trust certain information, but Ox, are you trusting James Harden to tell you not to mess with this chick or that chick? Are you cool with that?
Nah, because James Harden didn't hold up his end of the bargain.
That's what I'm thinking.
When things fall through and you don't hold up your end of the bargain and you're saying negative things about the person that you made the deal with, I can't really trust your word. It's not credible to me, at least.
Now, Mars, when you talk about as a fit, I mean, don't get me wrong. I do like him beside Joel Embiid because I feel like Nick Nurse changed that offense and made Joel Embiid more viable, especially opening up the offense even more with Maxey being more of a downhill guy. And I feel like Paul George playing off the ball, being a catch and shoot guy, even in isolation, the way that offense is ran, I think he would be really good. And plus how fast they play. But the idea that he wouldn't go there off the strength that, he got information from James Harden, who Daryl Morey, his idea was to get James Harden paid. And the idea was to get James Harden paid based on what I had done for you in the past. And the reason why I was able to do this for you in the past is because you were able to hold up your end of the bargain. It's not that hard to go into the front office in Houston when I got a guy averaging 36 a game, when I got a guy averaging 34 a game, when I got a guy averaging 29 a game. It's not that hard to go into the front office and ask for an extension, as opposed to we are in the same space that we were in the year before when we got you.
What do you mean James Harden didn't hold up his end of the bargain?
Well, again, I do understand him being one of the league leaders in assists. Yeah, I think he led the league in assists last year. So the first year he got there in the middle of the season. So I think that's a wash. Okay, so I won't. But then last year, James Harden was brought into Philly to get them over the hump of the Eastern Conference semifinals. It wasn't just to sell tickets. And James Harden became, again, a playoff he dropped in the playoffs again. He failed in the playoffs again, which is why they brought him in to not drop so they could get better. So the fact that he didn't hold up that end of the bargain, that ended up being one of the main reasons why they couldn't extend him. Because I think that if the Sixers are in the East Finals, I think they extend James Harden. And I think it was largely due to him not playing up to snuff.
I think it's more to do with Joel being hurt. But if James Harden takes less money with the agreement that Daryl Morey will give him more money in the long term so that they can build a championship unit around him, that's the reason James Harden took less money. We all understand that.
Sure.
So if that's what was told to him, and it's weird to say sacrifice when you're still making $30 million, but in this context, it's technically a sacrifice. So if James Harden,
when everybody else
for us,
like
it's like,
but when everybody
in that
else
context,
like $35, $40 million,
in that context, it's still sacrifice.
Sure.
So if he's sacrificing that level of finances, to build a championship team, all of those things, and leads the league in assists or whatever, and then they get to the playoffs, Embiid gets hurt, they lose in Game 7 to Boston. But because James Harden has bad shooting nights in the postseason, ignoring the fact that you could argue he won them 2 of their 3 games in that series, but ignoring that, that's enough of a reason for Daryl Morey to go back on their deal because James Harden didn't hold up his end of the bargain?
I don't think that's the difference, though, Miles. I don't think Daryl Morey went back on his deal. I do think he went to the Philadelphia Brass. I don't think they were interested in moving on with James Harden. I think that was the issue. I do think that he did his job in going into Philadelphia to the Brass and asking for an extension. I don't think he didn't do that. I think he went in and said, all right, this is what we did. I think it was the Philadelphia Brass who said, we're good. And I think that's where it got tricky.
So when Patrick Beverley said Daryl Morey called him and told him, we're not going to trade you, we're not going to move off you, and then they traded him, is Daryl Morey a liar then, or is he still not lying?
That's different.
Things change. I don't even know that too, Chill. In this business, it's like I don't intend on trading you. I'm gonna hold on to you. But if I get an offer I can't refuse, you gotta go. I'm you know what I'm saying? Like
a prime example would be
Toronto.
A prime example would be Toronto when they told DeMar DeRozan that we're not going to trade him. Turns out Kawhi Leonard is available. You saying no to that? I'm not saying
from a business perspective, it makes sense. Like, I'm not. Right. I want to clarify. I'm not saying Daryl Morey's wrong.
Right.
I'm saying from the player's perspective, James Harden has spoke about how he feels about Daryl Morey. He feels Daryl Morey lied to him about the deal that was on the table that he sacrificed and then he didn't get the money he was promised. He's mad at Daryl Morey for that. Rightfully or wrongfully, that's his decision. Pat Bev has spoke about how Daryl Morey lied to him about not being traded and then he ended up getting traded. I'm saying whether or not you think that was the best interest for the Philadelphia 76ers at the time is irrelevant to how the players feel about the situation.
Right.
And if James Harden has spoke to Paul George about that, or Paul George has heard about those things, he's not looking at it from a best interest of the 76ers. He's looking at it of the best interest of Paul George. So why would he want to go to the Philadelphia 76ers with Daryl Morey there when he may or may not feel that Daryl Morey doesn't have his best interests at heart? Is Daryl Morey meant to have the best interest of Paul George at heart? Probably not. But Paul George feels like he should. So if he doesn't, he's probably not going to go there.
Sure.
So I'm not saying Daryl Morey's in the right or in the wrong. I'm just saying players feel their way about Daryl Morey because they aren't looking at a GM's job or whatever Daryl Morey's role is in any other way other than it has to benefit me. And if Daryl Morey is doing things that is lying to players or not benefiting players, Paul George isn't going to want to go to play for a person like Daryl Morey. That's what I think.
That makes sense. And I hear what you're saying, Mars. My only thing is from Paul George's perspective, the way I look at it, I would look at it already like I probably got 3-4 good ones, left in me. So if I sign for a contract that's 3 years, 4 years, or something like that, anyway, I'm not too concerned with what happens after that because I'm trying to get as much money as I can, and I feel like I could win in Philly, So in that aspect of it, it's like I don't feel like I'm gonna have to be here making too many deals with Daryl Morey anyway. I'm just gonna get this contract, and then I'm just gonna deal with coach and deal with teammates and go on from there. But I mean, that's a good point. If you've proven to be untrustworthy to players, or put the team first instead of being the whatever for the player type GM, I can see you not wanting to go there.
Sure. And Mars, to your point, that I have to combat just a little bit. I mean, at the end of the day, Daryl Morey works for who?
The 76ers.
Yes, he works for the Philadelphia 76ers. So his best interest is not just James Harden. His best interest would not just be Paul George. I am paid by the Philadelphia 76ers. However, I do think that he was genuine because of what his relationship with James Harden was in the past, where he was able to get James Harden deals and extensions off the strength of James Harden's performances. It wasn't that difficult to go into the front office, even though he worked for the Houston Rockets and he had to have the best interest of the Houston Rockets. It wasn't that difficult for him to go into their front office and go, yo, we got arguably the best guard in the game, and this is what salary I'm commanding. In the process of him doing that and James Harden holding up his end of the bargain, he was able to get him an extension. I think that he still did that with Philly. I think that Philly shut the door on Daryl Morey, and now he has to go back to James Harden and tell him that, unfortunately, we don't have a deal. It's not that it's not that I didn't hold up my end of the bargain. It's more like I wasn't able to get you what you wanted to get off the strength of the Philly brass didn't see you the way I see you.
It makes sense, but we understand, especially when Pat Bev is okay. Pat Bev maybe probably
he could be a little extra. He could be.
Yeah, he probably just with his standing in the league. No knock on Pat Bev, but he doesn't command the same respect from front offices as a Paul George or James Harden would.
Right.
But we can understand that these teams, for the most part, look to try and treat their stars with as much care as possible, I guess. Because when KD asked for a trade from Brooklyn, was it in Brooklyn's best interest to do the trade with Phoenix? Or could they have sent KD, who was on a 4-year contract, to whoever had the best offer? But they also understand, hey, if we do KD dirty, we're not going to get looked at from free agents elsewhere. Free agents aren't going to join us when they know that we just sent KD to Detroit. So we have to understand that and know that the way we treat our stars is going to affect how stars look at us as free agent destinations or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. Because KD was under contract for 4 years and they sent him to one of the teams he wanted to go to for a deal that many would argue KD was worth more than what they got. So they did that because they understood what would have happened if they sent KD somewhere he didn't want to go. So we can understand that even if, Daryl Morey works for the Sixers, there's still like a level of obligation you have to your stars if you're in the front office. Just because, if you treat your stars badly, other stars aren't going to want to join your team. Just because why would we join you when the Lakers treat us excellently?
Well, sure, you don't want that reputation. Absolutely. You don't want that reputation of being that type of franchise. That's why there's franchises who people don't want to bother with. That's why Danny Ainge has the reputation that he has as a GM, because GMs don't want to deal with him because he's known to fleece guys. That's why people don't want to deal with him. There's a reason why people.
He's a well-known swindler.
Absolutely. There's people who don't want to deal with a jury up in Toronto because of his reputation. Now, again, the fact that Daryl Morey, his reputation of getting guys extended, his reputation and his relationship with James Harden, there was no reason to believe that it couldn't work in terms of an extension off the strength of what I had done in the past. There was no reason to think that. Now, don't get me wrong, Mars. At the end of the day, this is the business, and I have to protect the best interest of who I work for. I don't work for Paul George. I don't work for James Harden. I work for the Houston Rockets. I work for the Philadelphia 76ers. So what's in the best interest of this unit? I'm going to do what I can to get you paid. Now, I understand that you as a GM or you as a player, now when you hear James Harden saying, yo, don't mess with this guy. James Harden does have a reputation himself. So I feel like this is a two-way street. I don't think this is a one-way street.
And Mars, right quick, I do want to say they would have had complete carte blanche and respect from everybody in the basketball community if they would have sent that boy to Detroit. Okay, that would have been karma at its finest. As a matter of fact, if things don't work out with Phoenix, if things don't work out with Phoenix, go ahead and get Jalen Duren.
Yeah, but Paul George can't go to Philly. Now that I thought about it, it took me this conversation. I've been sitting here thinking about it, working it out in my brain, and that's a bad move for Paul George. Philly's not the place to go for Paul George because you got to think about he's over here dealing with Kawhi's knees. Mm-hmm. Now you're gonna go over here and deal with Joel's knees.
At least Joe's available though. Like he plays at least. The difference is Leonard ain't even available.
How many times can he do that? How many times can he play through the playoffs on broke down, crumbling knees? How many times can you do that at that size before it's just okay? We've had enough. He's done it more than Joel Embiid. He's done it more than Joel Embiid. I mean, Joel Embiid has done it more than him. I mean, that's my point. Chill. How many? Look at you in the eye and tell you, all right, bro, you're doing too much. I'm out of here.
Yo, need to look at you in the eyes and say, yo, I gotta bounce.
Your body will talk to you. Your body will talk to you.
Yes, all right, I'm gonna holler at you. You know what I'm saying? I'm out of here. So
yo, but that's the reason why
bad risk.
No, it is. Theoretically. But that's the reason why you add a guy like yes.
Yeah,
now it's like Joel.
But
Joel, it's like Joel. Play a couple games to start the season, play the in-season tournament. Play some games in February, take off all of March, and Tyrese Maxey and Paul George are each going to average 22 plus. And Paul George is going to average 22. Tyrese Maxey going to average 26. They're going to carry him to the playoffs.
They said that.
So we haven't seen Kawhi low manage.
They said that. They said that about Westbrook on the Lakers. They said that about Westbrook on the Lakers. It's a good idea. It's a good idea because LeBron got to load manage because of his age and AD's unavailable. So we get Westbrook.
Hold on,
he can play in those games where they aren't available and we get Westbrook, and it's a great star. Like that's what they said.
We're talking about Westbrook and LeBron, though, right?
And AD, yeah.
Yes, and AD. Okay, I respect that duo of LeBron and AD.
Yeah.
But as we know, Rush just was not the best fit for them. And Braun and Westbrook weren't a good fit as well. Paul George, on the other hand, with these two, definitely didn't know that at the time. And don't know this at the time, too. We're still speculating. But I believe Paul George with these two is the perfect slot. And Paul George is the perfect 1A, 1B option with Tyrese Maxey. They was, keep in mind, when Joel went out this year, they were kind of bad, but they was I though. They was what, like a 500 team?
They were below 500.
That's what I was going to say.
So with Paul George on there,
for those 40 games that Joel's going to be sitting down, load managing as you called it.
That's half the season. How am I doing? That's half the season.
Sure, you got to do what you got to do to get where you trying to get to.
You got to play it and play. Embiid can only play once a week. That's just how it goes.
That's it, Mars. That's all I'm getting from the league MVP.
Embiid playing once a week till we get to March, and then we can start ramping them up. Yeah.
And by the way,
you wouldn't do that?
Hell no, I ain't doing that.
Why not? If it means you are ensuring yourself that Joel Embiid is healthy at the start of the playoffs.
Yep.
And you guys, at the worst, are a 6 seed. And it's the East, too. At the worst, you're a 6 seed. Why would you not do that?
Okay, first of all, they load managed 2 years ago with Kawhi Leonard. He broke down in the playoffs. So ain't no guarantee that if I load manage.
Yeah, but he got degenerative knees.
Right.
Embiid ain't got that. Embiid
got degenerative luck.
But even if Embiid doesn't have degenerative knees, Mars, he came in the league broken. So there's no reason for me to think that he's not going to continue to break, which he has continued to break. And there's no reason if I sit him half the season to believe that he won't break again. So the load managing logic doesn't really work. That's number one.
Get that off the table.
Number two, Ron, let's dead this logic about the Eastern Conference. It's the East. Yo, the East ain't as bad as it used to be. We got to get off that. That's a dead narrative. The Eastern Conference this is not 2005. This is not 2004. No. The Eastern Conference is a lot better than you give the Eastern Conference credit for. I already spoke about this, Ron. 2 of the last 4 league MVPs come from the Eastern Conference. 2 of the last 4
players. We're not talking about teams.
This is the point that I'm making. 2 of the last 4 defensive players of the year, 2 of the last 3 defensive players of the year come from the Eastern Conference. The most improved players in the Eastern Conference. The assist leader is in the Eastern Conference. This ball is in the East.
The NBA champions are in the Eastern Conference.
Yes, sir.
Chill. It is. But I do just want to put this out there though, that the 5th seed in the West would have been the 2nd seed in the East.
The 5th seed,
the 6th and 7th seed in the West would have been the 3rd seed in the East.
Okay. Now I'm glad you brought that up.
You want me to keep going?
Yeah, and this is why I want you to keep going. So you just said the 5th seed, if I'm not mistaken, the 5th seed would have been the 2nd seed. Now, Ron, put some more salt on that. Put a little bit more seasoning on that. So that Knicks team. Okay, so they lost their best rebounder early in the season. Not only did they lose their best rebounder, they lost their second. Not only did they lose their rebounder, their second best rebounder, they lost their second best scorer and rebounder halfway through the season. Gone. That's out. So that's 24 and 10 off the table, and we ain't even halfway through the season. That's gone. Plus my best rebounder. Gone. Now, not only that, we also have G. And now keep going. Who else did you say? Because I'm sure with Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson, that Knicks team, that's a 55 close to that's a 55 win team at minimum.
They were the number 2 seed.
Yes. You brought up Dallas.
Seed in the West is Dallas, who had trade deadline trades, which is what really made them a good team.
Which goes back to the original
and
logic.
they were dealing with injuries the whole year. Like Luka had one of the most injured rosters the whole year. That was like the biggest part of his MVP case. That Kyrie missed time.
Yep.
They were playing Tim Hardaway starters minutes.
Yep.
Who was it? Who else was it that missed time? Maxi Kleber missed time.
Mr.
Dante Exum missed time.
Mm-hmm.
Like a bunch of people were missing time for the Mavs, and like
right.
Luka was keeping them above water. And then they made the trades, and then they went on a crazy run. And them still winning 50 games and only being a 5 seed. That's a testament to how strong the rest of the conference was, because 50 wins is a lot of wins.
So would that be the same logic with the Milwaukee Bucks, who ended up losing Giannis? I mean, I think they lost him for almost a month before the season ended. So I think that they win more games. I don't think they won 50. I think they were close to winning 50 games. So they win 50 plus games if Giannis doesn't get hurt. But also from a GM standpoint, because this is what I'm talking about. I ain't talking about the players. I'm talking about GMs. From a GM standpoint, you hand over Drew Holiday. You just hand him over. You just hand him right over. And on top of handing him over, you hand him over, you allow him to go to the Boston Celtics. This is the GM that I'm talking about in the Eastern Conference. I don't think it's the players. I think it's more the GM in the Eastern Conference makes the Eastern Conference look weak. There's plenty of ballers in the East. Plenty. I think that these GMs are doing a terrible job in managing these units.
What about Miami? Paul George to Miami.
He's not a Miami player. He's once again quoting his podcast. He said, and this is as close to verbatim as I can remember without putting it up. The problem with the Clippers this year is when they lost Rocco and Nick Batum in the James Harden trade, they ended up having himself and Kawhi went from being the scorers and the defenders to they had to start doing dirty work. And that's not what they're meant to be doing. That was his words. That's not the words of someone who's a Miami Heat player.
No,
I don't even want Paul George on my team saying stuff like that.
That's not the words of someone who's a Miami Heat player.
In the words of Phil Jackson, we got piano players and we got piano movers. Sound like Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are not piano movers. This makes
well, hold on, chill. Paul George is not a piano mover.
Well, it sounds like
Kawhi hasn't said anything. Kawhi was playing the 4 this season and didn't make a complaint.
Let's not bunch Kawhi.
Yeah,
so let's pick Kawhi.
I want to say that I'm not saying Paul George is wrong for how he feels. I'm just saying what he said is not something a Miami Heat player would say. So I just don't think it's a fit for both parties, because Miami's all about sacrifice. No one's bigger than the team. If this undrafted free agent can do it, you can do it too. All of those, it's not a fit in my opinion. I don't think Paul George is looking at Miami as like, that's what I want to be a part of.
And he's more of a, and to this day, Ron, and I may be wrong with this, but watching Paul George, I think he's more of a reputation defender today than he is an actual defender, which is what Miami is really all about. Plus, I think they're moving off of buckets. I do. I think they're moving off of buckets. And with moving off of buckets, I think they're going to start to build that unit around Bam. I do. And I think you already got your small forward of the future in Jaime Jaquez. That's not to say that Jaime Jaquez and Paul George today are the same player, because I think Paul George is better. But I think in the long game, if I'm trying to build something, especially if I'm getting off of Jimmy Butler, I'm not trading Jimmy Butler. I'm not trading Jimmy Butler to bring in Paul George, who already told me that he's not something. And we've already seen that he's not something. When Jimmy Butler has already shown me that he could be a number 1 on a championship contender. He showed us that. So that means that Paul George would be lesser than. So if Paul George is lesser than, for more money, by the way, and I'm slowing up Jaime Jaquez, I think that's a recipe for disaster.
I would actually like to see Paul George in Miami. I think I would love to see Paul George and Jimmy team up. Tyler Hero is a complimentary option. Bam anchoring that defense. And chill, I know you keep saying he's a reputation defender, but he's still a pretty good defender. He has the size. He can guard 1 through 4. Like,
what's pretty good, Ron? 10 being all league and 1 being Luka. What is Paul George as a defender?
Paul George at the worst is a 6. At the worst. I think on his bad day he's a 6.
So he's a little bit above average.
A six is decent, I think.
Yeah. I think. Well, you keep in mind you get athleticism and length with Paul George.
Now remember, Ron,
and like I said, switchability too.
One is Luka's crazy.
Yeah, one is Luka's crazy.
I mean, Luka's for sure like a 2.5.
Luka is definitely a 1. But anyway, Ron, to your point, the reason why I'm saying that because you just said 6. That's probably above average. What is Paul George's reputation as a defender?
Reputation. Keep in mind, I said 6 is his floor. 6 at the worst. But as his reputation, I mean, a lot of people still living in 2018-19.
Yeah, they think he's still elite. He's not elite. He's still. I don't think he's garbage. I want to be clear on that. I don't think Paul George as a defender. I do not think he's garbage. But I don't think he's all league defender Paul George anymore. I don't think he's that. That's the reputation that I'm talking about when I talk about Paul George. A guy who he can still defend, he can still stay in front of you, but he's not getting open floor rips on the regular like he did. He's not stopping or slowing guys down like he did in the past. He's not protecting the rim like he did in the past, beating guys to spots consistently. And that's largely due to him being older. And to Mars's point, what he just said when he said that I have to do the dirty work. That says to me that I used to do the dirty work. I don't do that no more. I don't do that as much as I used to. That's not me anymore. So
I mean, with that being said, though, like Miami still has dirty work guys. Like he can still come in and he wouldn't have to. Like Bam gonna do all of that. Jimmy gonna do all of that, and all the other guys that they got. Like he still be able to go. Jaime,
but that's not how Miami has like. Even Duncan Robinson has to be hustling. Like he's not a good defender, but you gotta be
PG.
Making
PG's got good hustle plays though. He hustles.
But is Paul George gonna put his body on someone for rebounds? Because Miami, you know that they box out more than anyone in the league. And like
I don't consider PG soft or afraid of contact or ducking contact. I've never considered PG to be one of them type guys. PG gets in there and mixes it up. So while he might have said that on his podcast and he might feel that way, he might feel like I'm cool off having to be that guy on this team. He might not want to play that position, but even when Paul George is playing, do y'all ever see Paul George shying away from contact, giving up on loose balls, not rebounding? I mean, we've seen him do some loose
balls. No, I think he's trying to get the steals for sure. But PG, in terms of like playing physical on defense against bigger bodies and boxing out, I don't think he does that. Not anymore.
Well, maybe not. Maybe not dirty work that we're talking about. Well, but that's not the only example of being a dirty work guy. If you're not able to get in there and get big with guys that are bigger than you, that's something I wish you could do. But that's not a complete. That's not a deal breaker. You know what I'm saying? Like Paul George still gets in the mix. So it's like while I don't want Paul George getting switched on to Julius Randle on the block or having to box him out or deal with Giannis.
On to Julius Randle on the block.
Nobody really wants to, but people got to do it. And if Paul George doesn't want to do it, I'm not necessarily like, okay, Paul, you can't play here. Nah, I still want you. That just means Jaime, I need you to get down there. Bam, I need you down there. Jimmy, I need you down there.
But that's the difference, though, Ox. But that's the difference with the Miami Heat. There isn't a guy that's saying they won't do that. There isn't a guy on the Miami Heat. If Jaime Jaquez is switched on to, or Jaime Jaquez has to cover Julius Randle, if Duncan Robinson gets switched on to Julius Randle, he's not getting switched on to Julius Randle like, screaming. I'm gonna.
He doesn't. Try. Paul George don't do that. Chill. Like I know. Mark said that he doesn't mix it up with but Paul George don't do that. Paul George is getting in the mix. Like we're not gonna play Paul George right now. I know I say things about PG, but we're not gonna do that. Like, He's not soft and he's not ducking phase like that at all. I've never seen PG do that. I've seen him get cooked. I've seen him get worked out. Sure. But he's still. You know what I mean? He's still getting it in though.
My issue with Paul George is the fact that he's aging. So how Mars feels about KD not being able to turn the corner like he used to. It's not because KD is out of shape. It's because KD got 1,000,000 miles on him and he's slowing down. I feel the same way about Paul George. Paul George, he's aging. He's getting older. I mean, Paul George, I think this is year 14 we going into. He's going to be 35 next year. So the stuff that he used to be able to do at the level I expect him to do it, he can't do it like that anymore. And the fact that he's sought after like he is as a free agent, I don't have a problem with it. I'm just thinking, is it a bit overrated? Because which Paul George are you expecting? Because a lot of these people see Paul George like they used to see him. And he's not him. He's not like that anymore.
I don't know. I think everybody's expecting him to come in. All these teams that we've mentioned, he would literally come in and be the second guy or the third guy. I think teams are seeing him as that.
The third guy, I have no issue with the
ultimate second or third option. I think teams are seeing him as that. As a guy that can come in, get some isolation buckets, play the lead, the band leader while the stars on the floor. So with the second unit and stuff like that,
right? Still
give you solid defense and be able to play off the ball and space the floor. I think like that's and that's why I said like I don't see a contending team not wanting PG. Can you imagine PG on Denver? I'm just throwing a team out there. Can you imagine PG on?
Relax.
Well, you see what I'm saying? PG on any contending team. Can you imagine PG on the Wolves, for instance? Like him, PG can go to any team that's a good team, and raise their ceiling.
I agree. It comes down to how much he wants, really.
The money's going to matter. Yeah. The money is 100% going to matter. I mean, he's right now, if I'm not mistaken, Moss, his contract is I think $48 million that he can opt into. If he's opting out of that, I'm not opting out of this $48 million to take 30 unless it's going to be for 4 years. Or I'm not opting out of that to take 40 unless it's going to be for 4 years and I'm going to get the years. Plus, I'm going to take less money in the short term to get the longer money. That's the only reason why I'm doing that.
I could see that first option with a contending team. Chill if you were to take something closer to 30, but take it for, like 3-4, maybe 4 years. I could see that for PG, going somewhere where he could win. I assume Paul George wants a ring. He wants some hardware. I mean, I don't know exactly what his pockets look like, but I assume he's gotten paid pretty well in his career. So I would be trying to do some ring chasing. And if I'm Paul George, I'm doing it unashamedly too. I'll go play with Steph. I'll go. I don't care. I don't care where I go right now. I'll go.
No shame in your game, Ox.
No shame whatsoever. If I'm Paul George, I'm going anywhere.
I'm going to play with James.
From what Paul George has dealt with in his career, y'all seen when his legs snapped and he came back stronger than ever. He went to OKC, tried to get it in there. I mean, you seen what happened with him and Kawhi here? Shit, I'm like, I've tried.
Ox, he didn't see all the quote unquote super teams get beat and then played against all the super teams. Keep in mind, he was dueling with LeBron and D-Wade. So he dealt with that team. Yeah, he dealt with the with the Warriors when they were on the come up, and then dealt with the Warriors when they got KD. He dealt with the Houston Rockets when they built up their team. He dealt with the Toronto Raptors when they got Kawhi. He's seen all of these quote unquote super teams. So it's like, bro, I didn't went through I don't know how long he's been in the league, but 13 years.
13.
Yeah,
he showed up in 2010.
If I'm Paul George, I'm like, I done went through about 13 years, and I done seen everybody get their shine. I done seen everybody build their team up, even though he's built up a couple teams too. But I've seen everybody, reach the top of the mountain with their respective super teams. Man, it's time for me to go get one.
Facts. That's what I'm saying. If I was him, I would call Jimmy. But I don't know what y'all think. Y'all think Jimmy got enough in the tank? He got enough left in the tank to make a 2-year run with PG?
I think so. Keep in mind that
he be load managing the regular season too. Like he be load managing the regular season.
That's why I think Rouse, for that reason right there, Miles, what you just said, I think that's why Rouse is out. For that reason right there, what you just said, I think that's why Rouse is out. For that reason, because Pat Riley, because Pat Riley still, Pat Riley still think it's 1995. Bring your ass to work. That's who Pat Riley is. He still thinks that we live in this era.
You gotta love that though.
Yeah, bring your ass to work. I don't care about none of this other nonsense. And compound that with the fact that not only does Jimmy load manage, he wants an extension at like 55 a season, which means that Jimmy Butler on opening night, he's gonna be 35 years old. He wants a 2-year extension. He's already on the books for 2 more years. That means that's gonna be 4 years. That means that at 38, 39 years old, I'm be paying this dude $55 million. Pat Riley is not trying to hear that. He is not trying to hear that.
Let's talk about Jimmy.
Before we do, Ron, because I'll do one too. I don't want to hold it up. I just want to say this though. If I'm Paul George, I'm gonna be at the Staples Center. To me, it's still the Staples Center. Everybody's gonna be packing up, heading to Inglewood. Like, okay, it's time to go. They're gonna be looking like, Paul, why ain't your stuff packed? Be like, oh, I'm staying here, y'all.
Chilling.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna kick it at the Staple with Ron AD.
I'm moving down the hall.
Yeah, I'm gonna just head up here.
Hey, Ox,
right,
you know how you just said you would do it unashamedly?
Unashamedly.
What now? With all other 29 teams, I would do that. With the Lakers, I would be like, oh yeah, I'm calling an Uber. I'm gonna see y'all over there in a little bit. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm helping management upstairs finish some things out. I'll be over there in a second.
And
never show up.
Break.
And never show
up.
Buckets, to your point, Ron. I think Miami. I think we've had this conversation in the past. I think Pat Riley recognized that he got everything that he was going to get out of Jimmy Butler. And a lot of these teams do that. And a lot of people don't want to admit it because they're fans of the game and they have a difficult time seeing it from a business aspect. So when you get Jimmy Butler in the 2019-2020 season, who's 29 years old, still in the middle of his prime, in the 5 years he's been in Miami, he's taken you to the NBA Finals twice. He's been an all-league defender. He's been an all-pro. You're trying to win it. I think that they've gotten everything that they're going to get out of Jimmy Butler. I think he's got a 10-year stretch where he only plays 62 games a season for 10 years. That's not going to get it done. That is not going to get it done. And now he's going to be 35 on opening night, getting older because like Ox just said, we're in a younger league now. And these younger dudes, SGA, Jalen Brunson, Jason Tatum, all of these guys are showing up now, Luka, and they're basically showing these older guys the door. So a guy like Jimmy Butler at his age, I think Pat Riley is looking at him and the money doesn't match up to the skill set and what he still is able to. I think Jimmy Butler got another year, maybe 2 years tops at this level. And to have to pay him 2 more years at $55 million, I don't think Riles is trying to hear that. I don't. I'll tell you what he's not doing though, Ron, real quick, and I'm not going to interrupt you guys, but in terms of trading him, if the New York Knicks pick up the telephone, click, don't call me about Jimmy Butler. No. You can dead that right now. And they're also going to lose. I don't think they're going to lose Caleb Barton. I don't think they're going to lose him. But if they do lose him, he would be a perfect Thibs guy in New York because if they lose OG Anunoby, I think he's a good supplement for him.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to lose OG. I mean, Jimmy's still under contract for 2 years. Like, even if Pat Riley doesn't extend him, I mean, that doesn't mean they have to move him.
That doesn't. It does not mean that.
Play your way into the contract. If Jimmy hoops for the next 2 years, he's earned a little extension. If he shows signs of decline or he stays hurt or they don't do anything in the postseason, we just cut ties. I mean, they don't have to rush a decision. I mean, like you said, Jimmy's got a player option in for the 26th season for $52 million. He's not going to say no to that. So like they got 2 years to figure out what they want to do with Jimmy. They aren't in a rush.
They should go get PG. I don't know how. I don't know what the money
would
look
be
like.
a Tyler Hero sign and trade. Tyler Hero probably have to throw Terry Rozier in there too. But you throw
then forget all that. I'm keeping
maybe you throw Duncan Robinson.
Hey, the hell with that.
You good?
Maybe Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, and then you throw them two, and then
Tyler and Duncan, we could do that, but nah, Terry Rozier, no go.
Well, yeah, something like that, yeah.
For Paul George, I don't know, Ron. I think the Clippers management might find themselves in trouble. Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson for Paul George. Oh, somebody getting fired. Somebody.
It'll probably be some. Well, I mean, here's also the thing too, though. If Paul George is already set to leave, you kind of
it's a sign and trade. It's not really up to them,
right?
I mean, KD to Brooklyn was a sign and trade. They got D'Angelo Russell. I mean,
and that actually turned out to be solid for the Nets.
And then that ended up turning into Andrew Wiggins, but like that was just out of doing a favor to the Warriors, I guess. Like KD didn't have to do that. He could have just joined Brooklyn.
Yeah, so he could have just left. Right.
So yeah, I mean, if Paul George wants to leave, anything the Clippers get is a bonus because he could just leave. So,
Mars, I'm not a fan of, and you just brought up Jimmy Butler in his last year, of that contract, because I think he's under contract 24-25 in the 25-26 season. I think it's what, 54 million? That's the player option. 52 player option. I don't think he's leaving that money on the table going into the season at 36 years old. I doubt very seriously that he's leaving that money on the table. But I also don't want to risk, because I hate the idea of guys walking out the front door for nothing. I hate that. We have to have guys where we get something for him. So even if Jimmy Butler is at that advanced age and he might not be what he was 2 or 3 years ago, I still can get something for him. Even if I am, because I just can't risk losing him for nothing. I understand the addition by subtraction, but if I'm subtracting Jimmy Butler, I'm still subtracting 18 to 20 a game. I'm still subtracting a damn good defender who is a good locker room guy. People love Jimmy Butler with the Miami Heat. I'm still subtracting that. So if I'm subtracting that, I would like to get something back for it. Now, again, Ron, we are talking about a guy who does, after next season, his last year's deal, he's got $52 million left on his deal going into his last year at an advanced age of 36. It's going to be tough to leave that kind of money on the table because we got a guy at that age who's probably seen the last 4 or 5 year extension. He's already seen it. I think those days are over. However, I still don't want him to just walk out the front door. I'm not a fan of that. I've never been a fan of that.
Keep in mind, Jimmy got the Thibs stats too. What he played for Thibs? What, 6 years? Playing with Thibs is almost like dog years, if you will. You gotta add another extra half season on that, maybe even a full season. And they was making playoff runs too. So yeah, good. Factor that in. But so Mars, you saying he got 2 more years left on his contract, and we don't believe the rumors going around that Pat Riley's off of him and is ready to get Jimmy Butler out the door.
I think he'd listen, but I don't think it's where we're not. I don't think they're going into this thinking we're not going into next season with Jimmy Butler. But I think if the right offer comes around, they're willing to get off of Jimmy. But I think that's just teams doing their due diligence. I don't think that's a revelation.
What's the right offer? What's the right offer for Jimmy, Morris? Like who?
How much value does Jimmy have? I mean, I think Miami should give up on trying to be championship contenders. So for me, it would be a team that's trying to compete. You take some assets off their shoulders.
Now, Mars, I've heard.
So I don't know who that would be, but
I've heard Houston. I've heard the
Houston. No, we good.
I just said Mars.
All right, Mars. Look, Mars.
Ron, I know what you're about to say, and no, Ron.
Right quick.
Here we go. This is Danny Ainge on line one.
Chill. I'm trying to tell Mars to please.
If it's not Dylan Brooks, I'm rejecting the offer. If it's not for Dylan Brooks, I'm rejecting the offer. I'm not giving up.
Danny Ainge on line one, Mars. I'm telling you right now.
Dylan and who else?
You can get Dylan.
Realistic
the third overall pick.
Look like Mars, not as a fan.
No, there's no realistic trade. If Houston trade any of their young 6 players, they are stupid.
So Dylan, the third pick,
and then you got to make money work somehow. But we don't have many contracts, so I guess like Steven Adams or something. I don't know. There's no real. The Rockets are too far away from competing to try and get a 35-year-old. It doesn't make sense.
If you throw another pick or 2 in there, I don't think Miami completely hates that.
They can get anything that isn't any of the 6 young guys or the Brooklyn Nets pick for 2025.
This is Danny Ainge.
I'm saying, but I want Steven Adams. I want Steven Adams. So I'm looking at that. I want Steven Adams. I want a guy like
the
Dylan
most
Brooks.
I'll do is that, like Dylan, the third pick, Steven Adams. Let me look up Houston's salaries just so I know what I'm talking about.
I'm I'm going to ask for Tari. I'm going to ask for Tari. Like,
no,
no.
How about no, Mars?
Okay, for sure. I gotta ask.
So Dylan and Steven Adams combined will be about 34.5 million. You'd still have to make up like another 14 million. We don't have that on the roster. You're getting Jayshawn Tate.
Now y'all keep
Jayshawn Tate and Jock Lando.
No, keep him too. What about
that's what we have on the roster.
Aaron Holiday.
Aaron Holiday's
y'all hold on to Aaron Holiday. I want to know about what's the one kid's Cam.
Kids, no.
Okay.
Hell no. Not
All right,
no.
so, but
hell
talk-
no.
If I'm the
Houston
Houston Rockets, and I hear anyone call my team and they say the name Tari, Jalen, Jabari, Amen, Cam, or Alprin, I'm hanging up. I'm hanging up. If you ask for the 2025 Nets pick, I'm hanging up.
Click.
None of those things are being moved. None of them are being moved.
Mars, I'm trying to tell you, y'all might want to get off of men early.
You've lost your
what?
You've lost your man. You've lost your
For
man.
what? Wait. Ox, let me hold on.
Ox,
I'm sitting down in the front of the class. I got my hand up, Ox. I'm sorry, Mr. Big Ox. What do you mean we have to?
I noticed some things, some unreversible flaws in this game. I see some things in this game that you might not, y'all not gonna be able to capitalize off of. You might want to send him to a team like Miami,
such as
what his
these flaws in his game that you're talking about.
A lot of it's mental lapses that I see that when I'm watching. It's mental lapses that I don't think he recognizes, and it's easy to hide just due to his athleticism. But he can't. I don't think he got the capacity to ride off his athleticism for much longer.
Is that something that can be? Is that something that can be fixed because he's a kid who's 19 years old? Who
It can be.
He's 21. He's 21.
I'm sorry, 21 years old.
It can be fixed if y'all send him over here with us.
So it can be fixed.
These are things that we can fix. So y'all go ahead and put him in the trade with Dylan Brooks. Steven Adams.
I just told you.
I'm not entertaining this conversation. I'm not.
This is his representative right here. This is him.
I'm not entertaining that. Oz can just keep. Keep talking. That's cool.
So that's our strategy. I'm gonna talk him down to y'all. Send him over here. We go, bro.
I heard the Houston thing, Ron, and when I heard the Houston thing, I feel the same way about Paul George as I do about Jimmy Butler. I don't want him around my kids. I don't, because I'm building something and I'm on an upward trajectory. I don't want to bring in a guy who, one, has a high salary. Two, I'm not going to get any more of the best years of him. Miami probably got that. And three, I don't want to give up any of my young kids. I don't. No.
Yeah, and the reason why we're having this conversation is because word on the streets is that Houston is in win now mode. So they're not looking to, essentially what win now mode means is you're not looking to ride it out with all these young guys. You're looking to get some guys in right now that are ready to compete with some of the young pieces that you already have and some of your current pieces. So that would essentially mean Houston shaking things up. Jimmy Butler was one of the guys that came up, and also Paul George as well. And I mean, obviously, Houston has the assets to go get. They're in an OKC position where they have the assets to go get anybody that they want.
The room is a wall cap. That will cap.
And Ron, I also don't want, and we know how Jimmy Butler's petty. Let's be clear about that right now. He's petty. So with him being petty, I ain't really interested in moving him to any team in the Eastern Conference because that's going to bite me. So I'm good on moving him to any team in the Eastern Conference. If I am going to move him, I'll move him out west.
Only trade I'm making if I'm Houston is Dylan Brooks and the third pick for Mikal Bridges. And Brooklyn don't want to accept that, then guess we're not making trades. Every other trade I've heard is stupid. Marcus Smart, stupid. Kevin Durant, stupid. Paul George, stupid. Jimmy Butler, stupid. Brandon Ingram, stupid. And it's just teams are just lying about what Houston are trying to do. We're not doing none of those things.
That Marcus Smart trade, I was like, what? What is it? The number 6 pick and Marcus Smart?
The 9th pick and Marcus Smart for number 3.
What? I ain't doing that. Hell no.
It's stupid. All of those trades are stupid. Just
it depends as far as how you see the draft though. I might want to go. I might want to trade back in this draft. Trading back might not be a bad idea. You know what I'm saying? And then I get Marcus Smart over here too. I would love to have Marcus Smart on this roster.
I'm not mad at Marcus Smart as you guys' backup point guard, shooting guard.
Thompson is a point guard.
A minute, Marcus, they could play together.
He's about to be a league
not
guard.
The best shooting duo, but
actually.
But with that being said, though, now
I
know they don't stretch the floor out all that well, but those two on the defensive end would be insane. On top of that, I'm not mad at Marcus coming and teaching Jalen Green how to be a little more just intense and physical. I'm not mad at him
Fred
coming to
VanVleet
teach
can
Atari.
teach him that.
Fred VanVleet can't teach that boy how to be physical.
Yes, he can.
That's exactly who Fred VanVleet is, Ron. How you think he came into the league? He's an undrafted
everything
guy.
you think Marcus Smart brings to the table. We have players on the team that do it. I'm not trading.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I feel you, Mars. All I'm saying is that if you, depending on how the GMs are looking at this draft, which I don't know, they might see something that we don't see. And in this draft right here, I'm not mad at trading back and acquiring Marcus Smart. That's all I'm saying. It might not be the move that they make, but that's not that's of all the moves that I've heard. That one right there just isn't stupid. Unless you got a third pick that you know you have to have.
I don't mind trading because I was it up here or maybe on Open Gym. I said before Caruso got traded, the Bulls have the 11th pick. We'll give them number 3 for number 11 and Alex Caruso. I said I'm down to do that. So like I'm not against trading down. I'm not very high on the number 3 pick for us. I don't think anyone up there is going to help us win now. And I think Reed Shepherd, who we're probably going to take, is a low ceiling type of player. But that doesn't.
How do you feel about that pick, Mars, by the way? How do you feel about Reed Shepherd?
I think he's okay. I think theoretically he's a safe pick. You get a guard who can shoot, who's steady, makes good decisions, high effort on defense. You just think of it as we're not going to get this pick wrong. I don't think he has the most upside of anyone who's at that spot. And I think taking a guard who's 6'1" is a bad decision. But I'm not, because I guess as we get closer to the draft and the more it's like, okay, we're taking Reed, I guess I've tried to just convince myself of how the pick can work out. I said I didn't want Reed Shepherd to be our number 3 pick, but I'm on the best player available is always the best pick. So that's why I'm, I guess, more against Reed Shepherd. But I think he's a good player. I just don't think he's gonna move the needle for us much.
Personally. So when we talk about Jimmy Butler moving from Miami, which I mean, Mars and I disagree. I think Rouse is out on him, and I do think that. I mean, even though he doesn't have to trade him, I don't think he has to trade him, but I do think that he's out. I think that he ends up in a place in the Western Conference where it just makes more sense for Jimmy, like Memphis, somewhere like that, like a dirty work team.
Jimmy in Memphis?
Yeah, that just makes more sense for him, where he could shine with that unit. Not just shine with that unit. He could still be himself, because remember who Jimmy Butler is. Jimmy Butler, there's a reason why Philly went with Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. It wasn't just because they thought Tobias Harris was better than Jimmy Butler. No. Buckets rubs people the wrong way. Buckets is not exactly, everybody's cup of tea. No, you have to be a certain kind of person to deal with a dude like Jimmy Butler. So I wouldn't be surprised if I found out that Jimmy Butler ended up in a place like Memphis. That would not surprise me at all. And they had the assets. I feel like they got the assets, and they would come off some things like Jimmy Butler with John Morant and Marcus Smart.
Jaren Jackson.
I
would love that.
Desmond Bane would fit good in Miami.
Mm-hmm. You have to have there's a certain kind of gumption that you have to deal with a dude like Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler ain't the type of dude that's, touchy-feely and smiling all the time. Nah, whenever you're around a dude like that, you got to be prepared to get down. Not some days or most days. Every day. You got to be prepared to get down when you got a dude like that around. And not a lot of guys are built to be around a guy like him. I'm on record saying I'm 100% confident he and I would have gotten into a fist fight at some point. I'm sure of that. I'm not on the fence about that. I'm sure that we would have. I'm certain of that.
All right, fellas, we're going to go ahead and circle back around to these super chats. Appreciate everybody that's tapped in right now. Y'all know the drill. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. And salute to all of our members, Hall of Famers in particular. My man, Kendall Daniels, he on that Hall of Fame tier. Big shout out to Kendall Daniels. We seen him on the show a couple weeks ago. Kendall, You're welcome to come back to these Hall of Fame Fridays, my man. Dorian Clayton, I'm still trying to catch up with you, man. Dorian, you've been tapped in for a very, very, very long time. We want to get you on the panel because you are our longest tiered Hall of Fame guy. So, our longest tenured Hall of Fame guy. So, Dorian, if you're listening to this, hit me up. You got my contact information. Holla at me. Mikhail, same thing to you, my man. You just joined. We'd love to get you up here sometime soon. Same thing for Cobra, son of Raditz. Shout out to him. But as for my guy, Jerryality, this Friday, he said he going to pull up. So, Jerryality, we going to catch you this Friday. Bring your top 10 and bring your wild takes. We looking forward to seeing you, man. Shout out to all of our Hall of Fame guys. Y'all holding it down for real. All right. As for these super chats. Oh, and also make sure to join playback.tv. Open Gym's going to be on there after this. Check them out. And shout out to From the Logo, too, the best up-and-coming show in the world. All right, y'all. We got a couple members chats from my man Global. He's been a member for 9 months. We were talking about it a little bit, but he said, what should Miami do going into next season?
Give up.
Like,
Ron, the championship window is closed. Ron, the championship window is closed. It is. I'm down to build this unit around. I'm down to build this unit. But Boston is just going to get better. Not only is Boston
Miami could get better. They still got Bam. Bam is a great center. If you want to have a centerpiece, you want it to be Bam Adebayo.
That's who I'm building a unit around.
A big guy that can put the ball in the bucket, can guard the perimeter, can protect the basket. He does everything, and he's 6'10". He's big, strong. You know they got Bam. You got that's a lot to build around. Jimmy's
that's who I'm building a unit around. To be honest with you.
But I mean, you got Jimmy. You still got young, dirty work guys like Caleb Martin and Jaime Jaquez. I think they got a lot of like they got a strong foundation in Bam. Their bones are sturdy in the young fellas. I don't see them as a team that should give up or try to rebuild or nothing. I think one or two simple moves in Miami's right back in the game.
So if you're losing buckets, if you're going to lose Jimmy Butler, that means if you're losing Jimmy Butler, that means you building the unit around Bam. Now, if you're losing Jimmy Butler, you're probably not going to get that back in terms of a star. So if you're not going to get that back in terms of a star, because Jimmy Butler's your best player, now that means that you're going to build this unit around Bam. That means I got to build it around Bam's skill set. So if I'm
not necessarily chill, not necessarily. Check me out.
Checking you out.
Don't forget DeJounte Murray's on the market. DeJounte and Trae Young are both on the market. DeJounte's on the market. If we come off of Jimmy, and let's say somebody else is out of there too. If we can bring back a shooter and DeJounte, still got Tyler Hero.
Yep. Does that make them
I'm not calling them a championship contending team.
That's what I'm talking about.
Championship, but that's what I mean. I feel like they can. They're a good a deep second round team. Things could go right. And they can get an Eastern Conference, get in the Eastern Conference or something. But that puts you in the game. And then you at that point you're waiting for that right free agent to come through, or I don't know, a draft. All I'm saying is Miami shouldn't give up. Like
giving up isn't the logic, but I feel like their championship window is closed, and I feel like winning with this unit, the way it's currently constructed with buckets, with Bam, no, they're not winning with that unit. And the Celtics are just gonna get better next year. The Knicks gonna bring back their unit. They're gonna be better next year. I'm real interested to see what the Milwaukee Bucks are doing, because currently what they got going on. I said that they were fool's gold last year, and if they come back with that unit, they're going to lose Malik Beasley. How they're going to upgrade in that front court, that remains to be seen. And I also think that they still have to upgrade at the 5 spot too. So I think Indiana's going to be better next year. So there's teams that I feel like are in front of the Miami Heat, and the logic of them, being a 7 or play-in team, making these kind of runs again, I just don't think that's realistic anymore.
Well, what about, because don't forget, there's also guys like OG Anunoby out there. So I'm just thinking of just different ways that Miami could stay relevant. Maybe if they were to come off of Jimmy and they were to acquire guys like DeJounte and OG, I could see DeJounte, OG, and Bam doing something in the East for sure. I could.
So OG, one of the main reasons why he was traded to the Knicks, he wants a payday. That's what he's looking for. So if I'm not mistaken, I think the Knicks own his bird rights. If he ends up leaving New York and ends up in Miami, that payday that he's looking for, it's not going to be nearly as much as if he stayed in New York. His asking price, we starting at $35 million. That's his asking price. We starting at 35. Well, Riles is not going to put that on the table more than the Knicks. And the Knicks, knowing who the Knicks are when it comes to the Miami Heat, they will definitely overpay for OG to keep him out of a Miami Heat uniform. 100%
yeah, I could dig that. I could dig that, but I would rather pay OG 35 than pay 30, 36, 37-year-old Jimmy 52 mil.
I'm cool. I'm so cool with that. Yes. I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm with y'all. As much as I love Jimmy Butler and as much as I actually love what they got going on over there, I think Jimmy Butler embodies their culture more than damn near anybody in the league at that level, at that star level. But everything runs its course.
Yeah, for sure.
Mars, I gotta come off Jimmy. I can't. It's been too much. Chill. When you try it with a chick multiple times, and it's just like, you know what? We just never gonna get past this particular thing.
We've gone as far as we're gonna go. I don't hate you. I don't think you whack. I think you super dope. And if we stayed together, that doesn't mean that we're gonna go the other way. We probably are only gonna go this far. I'm never gonna marry you. Never. I'm never marrying you. So, two choices. Yeah. We can either stay here or we can move on from each other. Now, to Mars's point, the Miami Heat, they in the catbird seat right now because we still got buckets under contract for 2 more years. And we probably have another year of him, maybe 2 of him being elite. We probably have that. So with that being said, we don't have to do anything right now. But in the word, as you guys know, I'm a 49er fan, believe 49er red. And the great Bill Wall said, I am moving off of you 2 years too early than a year too late.
Yeah. And Chill, you made a good point earlier too about Jimmy, and we gonna move off this because we've been talking about Jimmy for a while. But you said like they basically maxed out with Jimmy.
We got everything that we're gonna get, Ron.
If you would have told Pat Riley when they traded for Jimmy, or no, they signed him when they signed him that you guys would get 2 championship runs, and they went to the Eastern Conference once, right? Eastern Conference Finals once,
3 times.
3 times? Well,
3 times.
that's twice including.
Yeah, but 2 of them they went to the finals. So yeah, one time they lost in the conference finals in game 7.
If you was gonna tell him that Jimmy Butler was gonna put the team on his back, and I know, big ups to Bam and Tyler Hero and everybody else that was there too. But if you was gonna tell him that with Jimmy Butler as your number 1, you guys would do this, I think he would be like, yeah, hell yeah. And I think looking back on it, he's like, he got every single penny's worth from Jimmy Butler.
Absolutely.
At this point, it's kind of like, all right, it's time to go in another direction.
I don't hate it.
All right, I got another super chat from Gandhi KV2. He said Thibs ain't rock with PG or ain't rocking with PG.
It's Paul George. If you think about who Thibs is, his days in Chicago, his days with the Celtics, because this is a thing. Like a lot of people don't want to accept that it's a thing. Teams have or coaches have guys. Is Paul George a Thibs guy?
I wouldn't put him in that bracket.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
I think it would be. I think he'll have a harder time up in New York than he would in Miami. Because he's gonna have to still play the defense, but then he's gonna have to play the heavy minutes too.
He's not coming out the game, Mars.
Yeah, I don't know if
he's not.
Yeah,
that's not happening. He's gonna happen.
There's only ever been 2 actual Thibs guys, and that's Dennis Rodman and Ron Artest. That's it. Like Dennis Rodman and Ron Artest are the only Thibs guys I've ever seen.
Man, he just feels like it's that type of player that fits Thibs' system. Thibs plays guys a lot. It's a lot of dirty work, not a lot of flash, and a guy like Jalen Brunson, when he was coming out of college, he was very much like that. Even though he was the best point guard in the country, he was gritty. He had a lot of toughness to him. That's a Thibs guy, 100% a Thibs guy, and that's what I'm talking about, Ron. When I talk about Paul George, a lot of the stuff about him being a defender, an elite defender, that's reputation. That's not going to work with Thibs. That's why Josh Hart plays as much as he plays. That's why Robinson plays as much as he plays. That's why Hartenstein played as much as he played. One of the main reasons with Mitchell Robinson getting hurt was that he was able to, get on the floor. But with that being said, these guys that are on these units that are quote unquote Thibs guys, they fit a style of play. I don't think that Paul George fits Thibs' style of play. Even though I still think that Paul George is still a damn good player. I just don't think he fits Thibs' system.
Yeah, and then on top of that too, like with the New York Knicks, you don't really need to be getting a 2 or 3. You got Josh Hart, who is a top 5 playoff performer, and he's better than Shea. It's like, what I need Paul George to come over here and take his minutes for? Really need that.
Nice.
But all right, y'all. Christopher D sent through a super chat. He says, "Salute, panel. What is everyone's top 3 NBA playoffs where it was awesome start to finish? Mine, 2010, 2016, and 2001 playoffs. Lots of memorable playoff basketball. What about you guys?"
I really enjoyed 2019.
2016. Top 3?
Yeah.
I got to think about that. 92 playoffs. Those playoffs were awesome.
Why'd you like 92?
That Knicks Bulls series was great. That Cavs Bulls series was fantastic. The Blazers out west, they ended up beating the Lakers in a dogfight. The only reason, this is what I'm talking about when I talk about, things going your way. Portland got lucky in the aspect that it was the Rodney King riots was going on during that time. So they had to move Game 5 from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. Because if that doesn't happen, I'm not sure that the Blazers beat the Lakers. I'm not sure if that happens.
92 Magic is still there in 92?
No, he had left in 92. But they still
who they had?
They had Sedell 3, they had James Worthy, they had Divock on the crew.
Yep, young Divock or younger Divock. That's young Divock. Yeah,
they had Divock on the crew. They had Sedell 3, they had James Worthy, they had Eldon Campbell. Let's see, they had Terry
Perk
Teagle.
wasn't there at that time?
One more time.
Perkins? He wasn't there?
I think they lost Perkins that season.
Okay.
I think they had lost Perkins that next season. The 92 playoffs is definitely one of my favorite playoffs. Everybody thought the Bulls was going to walk through the playoffs, and they didn't. They got into a dogfight with the Knicks. And then they ended up getting into another dogfight with Cleveland. That was a hard-fought 6-game series. That's something to think about.
I was just watching, just scrolling through Instagram. I had seen Clyde Drexler when Clyde Drexler was talking about that finals matchup against Jordan, saying that he's like, I do everything better than Jordan outside of basically scoring. He said, he didn't say I do everything better. He said I could do everything just as good as him. And then they was just showing the highlights from the series and whatnot. That was a good series. Jordan and Clyde. That was box office.
I'm on record to this day. I look at Jordan and Drex like Bryant and Dwayne Wade. Anybody not named Kobe, anybody not named Michael Jordan, Drex kicked their ass. He just won 23 good, and he was awesome. He just wasn't 23 good. Dwayne Wade kicked anybody and everybody's ass. He just wasn't 24 good. Right. That's it.
Y'all remember when they used to put the NBA Classics? When NBA Classics used to just run every finals game in a marathon. So I used to sit in front of that TV all day.
Still do, Big Ox.
The 92 playoffs I'm thinking about. The 2016 playoffs. I don't want to say overrated, but I mean outside the finals. Like what else about the 2016 playoff? I mean the finals. I won't argue.
Golden State versus OKC,
right? And in the Western finals between Golden State. Outside of those two, like what else went on in 16 in the playoffs?
Charlotte went to a game 7 in round 1. I remember that. Charlotte ran a game 7.
Against who?
Against I think Miami.
Miami.
Yeah, I think
they lost.
I think against Miami. Yeah, against Miami.
I think Miami lost in game 7 to Toronto. I think.
This is Miami when D-Wade came back, right? For his last year.
This D-Wade and Chris Bosh.
No.
This Chris Bosh, yeah.
I know that in the East, like after that, the decision, when everybody moved around, when Melo, the year after when Melo went to New York, so what was that when? Well, Amari went to New York first, and then LeBron 11, 12. So those years 11, 12, 13. But the East playoffs used to be dope. Because then the Celtics were still nice in 11.
The Pacers,
the Pacers, the
Bulls,
Heat, the Bulls, all those teams, Atlanta, all the teams were still dope. Like the East Finals specifically, after all that shifting around, those were some good playoffs.
Okay, yeah. Someone said OKC vs San Antonio in 2016 was a good series. That was the when they put Kawhi on Russell Westbrook and put Danny Green on KD.
What?
There was a lot of things.
What about what about the 2018 playoffs?
Nah, that was dead.
No,
if the Rockets wouldn't have got robbed and actually made the finals, yeah, it would have been cool.
Didn't we have? If I'm not mistaken, that playoffs, I think we had like 3 or 4 game 7s in that playoffs.
What is that? Is that the year that
two of them were
LeVert? Dinwiddie and LeVert was with the Nets that year.
Who was with the Nets?
19. That's 19.
That was 19. Okay. Yeah, I like 19.
How many was
19 is a year I like. 19 is a year I like. There was had the Cavs went to 2 game 7s against Boston and Indiana.
I do remember those two, and
I think
and y'all went to game 7.
The Warriors,
not 18.
Warriors in Houston was a game 7.
Game 7.
Was there another one? How Boston versus Milwaukee was that 7-game series?
No, they smoked them dudes in 5 games.
That was 19. This is the year.
In 18? Yeah. Oh, that was game 7. Those were the 2 you just talked about, Moss. Boston and Milwaukee. Did they play Milwaukee? Yeah, they did.
I think that was Giannis' first playoff series.
In 18.
Maybe I'm bugging right now, but I think it was.
I gotta think about that one.
I think that was 4 game 7s off the top of my head, but I might be.
I remember 3 of them. I do. I do remember 3.
19 would be in my top 3, but there's only a handful of playoffs I've watched from start to finish. I've gone back and watched playoffs, but I've handpicked the series and games I've watched. Start to finish, sat down and watched. I've got like 2 years to pick from.
19, so for me, and I don't want to sound outdated, but 92, 95, and maybe I think 2019. I think 2018 was better than 2016 in terms of playoffs.
I think 2019 was better than both.
Yo, y'all could say what y'all want. Outside of what Dirk did, because I think that was an awesome year too. We had a lot of names in there. Obviously, Kobe had a run.
2011 is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. 2011. Okay. You obviously Bron, and it was a lot of stars and memorable teams during that year. But outside of that, 2020 takes the cake for me. Now I know it was Disney, Disney ring and Mickey Mouse and all of that. Y'all can make jokes about that. Keep in mind the context behind this whole thing before I even get into what happened in the matchups and all of that stuff. Keep in mind, this is COVID. Everybody's sitting on their couch. You have nothing to do but watch these games. I don't know if you guys remember. I was so excited for these games because I'm sitting around not doing nothing.
Mars, if I'm not mistaken, Mars, didn't you tell me that the 2020 playoffs was the lowest rated playoffs?
The lowest rated finals, yeah.
The lowest rated finals. Okay, it wasn't.
The playoffs were probably the lowest rated too, but the finals had the lowest views of any finals ever. But I think that was the year Luka hit that game winner against the Clippers. That was tough.
And that series just in and of itself was dope,
right?
Because obviously it was lopsided, but it was like, are y'all really seriously? And this is before we knew Luka was good. We didn't know Luka was this good just yet. And we was just looking around like, yo, Kawhi. Remember, that's when we weren't necessarily talking about Patrick Beverley that year. We weren't talking about who else did they have? Norman Powell and their other defenders. We were strictly looking at Paul George and Kawhi. Like, are you guys gonna do something to stop him? because he's doing whatever he wants.
I'm still not off the fact that Leonard. I don't understand why he left. I do. Ox. He wanted to go back home. Okay, I get that part. I'm not arguing that. I understand. I would never argue against a guy wanting to go back home, and that's what Kawhi Leonard wanted to do. He wanted to go back home. I'm not on the fence about this. He stayed in Toronto. They're in the finals at minimum. Whether they beat the Lakers, that's something different. But they are in the NBA finals if he stays in Toronto. No doubt about that.
That 2020 Raptors team was really good. They could have been.
They were damn good, Mars. Yeah. That was a damn good team. That was a damn good team.
The Nuggets came back from 3-1 twice in the 2020 playoffs.
They beat Utah.
And then
y'all remember that series. Y'all remember Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell.
Damn, Ron. That's that.
I know y'all remember
3-1 comebacks.
Yeah, I remember Donovan Mitchell getting an 8-second violation. I remember.
Didn't he go for 60 in that game 7 or 59, something crazy like that?
In the game 7,
I think he got busy. I think it was.
Game 7 was a low scoring game. In game 6, one of them went for 50, I think. But game 7 was a low scoring game. And Mike Conley missed that open through.
Both
in the same game.
No,
in the same game.
Donovan Mitchell went for 50 twice, and I know Jamal Murray went for 51.
I'm confident he went for like 56 or 57. Something.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell had 57. It was in game 3, game 3, game 4. One of those games, I think. No, it was in one of the games they lost. I think, because he had the 8-second violation. I'll never forget it.
The chat saying they did do it in the same game.
That was you can't get an 8-second violation, Mars. You can't do that at that juncture of the game.
Anytime that series gets brought up, that's the only thing I bring up.
Oh, that was awful. Can't believe he did that. Oh my god.
So wow. But that series was cool. That series was cool.
Yeah, that was good basketball.
It was game 1. He had 57. Yeah, and they lost because he got the 8-second violation. I remember. Trash.
And then you had you still had the Bucks and the who'd you have no, because the Bucks lost to the Heat. Yeah, that's when the Heat got on the Bucks. So you had that. And then you had the Lakers and the Clippers. Or no. It was the Lakers and the Rockets.
Giannis got hurt.
Nuggets and the Clippers. Yeah, that was a good year.
Even though Buckets made it clear, we would have beat them anyway. He said that.
It's cool. 2020 was cool. I mean, I've always said no crowd just ruins watching it back. Like watching the 2020 playoffs back is just not something I enjoy. No crowd is just like I've watched back like the 2010 finals game 7. I want to say like 7 times, just because everything that went into that game, the crowd, the emotion, and then obviously Kobe getting up on the scorer's table, like all of that was just great. Then you go back watch the 2020 playoffs, and a 3 by James, the crowd goes mild, like. The crowd is on FaceTime to the arena, like it just doesn't hit.
It was still a good ball though.
The basketball was good. It was good basketball. I'm just talking about like the atmosphere.
It really gave those, those late night one of us got the keys to the gym. You know what I'm saying? That was that 11 p.m. hoop. We get in there 11. We in here from 11 to 2. That was some good basketball.
The basketball was good quality, just the atmosphere was just so hideous.
I liked because the first playoffs I actually was able to sit down and watch, like remember watching. Obviously, I didn't watch every game, but the first playoffs I remember was the '98 playoffs, like really seeing, and so that was dope. Like I still remember some of it, like watching some of those games. That was cool. Like obviously was watching when Jordan hit that shot, but those was good. Who
was you rooting for? The Bulls?
I was always been a Pippen fan, Marsh. Always been a Pippen fan.
W.
Gandhi KV2 said, "When was the most difficult year to win a championship? Which years was the league most balanced?"
The 70s.
Probably in Disney World.
The 70s. You'd have to go back to the 70s. Or the current day. Everything else has been kind of lopsided in one conference's favor, or there's been a super team about. The 70s is when there was just a bunch of parity. I mean, like the Warriors, the Bullets, the Bucks, the Celtics, the Sonics came about. The 70s is probably when the league had a lot of parity, in my opinion. A lot of good teams, not really many great teams.
I actually think 2019 was probably the hardest year to just drop into and win one. Now, keep in mind, like obviously in the championship, what happened in the championship.
Yeah, because of circumstance. I get it.
Exactly. But I'm like, so you still got to deal with the Warriors with who they are, KD and them, and then you got on the East you got Toronto. Still out West, you got to deal with. Well, the Lakers weren't really there yet, but
it was really just Houston.
It was really just those two teams.
Portland's on. They made the conference final. Shout out to them. But nah.
I guess in terms of parity, not so much. But you still got those two top-heavy teams that you would have to get over.
Yeah,
and the East was still good too. They still had the Sixers. The Sixers was nice. Who else was good that year in the East? The Bucks as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, what's going on, Cruz?
What's going on with y'all boys, man?
Hello.
What up?
What's going on, man?
You're
welcome. Glad to be back. Ron had me on timeout, man. He wouldn't let me be great, man. NBA playoffs over with, man. I couldn't get no smoke, man. I'm like, man.
It's good to have you back, Cruz. It's good to have you back in the house. What's up? You got, let me open up the floor to you. You got anything that you...
Man, congratulations to my guy. Congratulations to my guy, Chilltown, man. His guy won his first NBA championship. Congratulations to Big Ox Bob, man. Jaylen Brown finally got over that hump, man. His guy, he been shouting his praise. Got to give the boys. I want to give the boss Celtics their credit, man. They've been the best team all year. We got to give it up to them. Got to give it up to them, man.
Finally, finally, somebody actually talking good about a team instead of we knew they was gonna win all year long, man. To me, I really firmly believe if they would have lost, that would have, like, at no point in time did I think they was gonna lose. Like, if they would have lost, that would have been an epic collapse. That's how bad I felt. That's how good I thought they was. Like, that would have been a collapse if they would have lost. If anybody would have beat them, man, it was just, man. The only team that I thought could even challenge them, to me, was the Denver Nuggets. That was the only team that I thought even had a chance to even challenge them. You know what I mean? But everybody else, man, I just thought they was the best team all year. Picking up Porzingis. I did a video when it first happened. Getting Drew Holiday, man, that was big. That was real big, man. That was tough, man. What people don't talk about, what made them better is it took Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum off the ball more. If you go back, Ime Udoka had Jason Tatum almost like a playmaker. That's why he had so many turnovers in the playoffs. You know what I mean? This gave Jason Tatum a chance with Derek White and Drew Holiday. It gave him a chance to be able to just play off the ball a little bit more and not have to dribble so much, try to create and make plays. They made plays for each other, but it wasn't like them bringing the ball up and just trying to be facilitators and stuff like that. It took a little bit of pressure off of them.
Yeah, shout out to Celtics.
That's dope.
Nah, we shot them out too much.
All right, so my man Jake Thomas became a member today. Shout out to Jake. He shot through a super chat right after this too. He said, "What do you guys think about PG-13 to the Dallas Mavericks?
Do they need another bucket getter in? That's what I was about to ask. Ox. Do they need another bucket getter, or do they need a wing who's less of a bucket getter and more of a defender? Like maybe a better version of Derrick Jones Jr., but not as good as Paul George, who needs the basketball.
They need a guy that can get buckets, but not a bucket getter though. They need somebody that can alleviate somebody that can alleviate the pressure, but not somebody that's going to be upset if they get 7 shots tonight. You know what I mean? I'm thinking somebody that should be shooting somewhere between 11 and 14 shots a night. Just right there, third option. Take some pressure off of Luka and Kyrie.
They need to go get
Tobias, Jeremy Grant.
Nah, OG.
Oh shit!
I love OG in Dallas.
You know, don't talk like that, Cruz. Don't talk like that, Cruz.
Hey,
don't talk like that.
They go get OG free.
Yeah, I mean that'd be nice. That'd be.
What is it going? Here's the problem. Here's the problem, though, fam. What is OG going to cost in Dallas?
A lot.
And it might be too much.
Yeah, he's going to have to probably. Yeah, you're right.
Because the money matters, man. Like I know we talk basketball a lot and fits, but the money matters. And a guy like OG, who one of the main reasons why he left Toronto and got traded is because he was looking for a payday. And him in New York, he's looking to get paid. He's not coming down to Dallas at 26 years old talking about winning. Don't get me wrong. He wants to be part of winning. Don't get me wrong. He does want to win, but I'm trying to get paid too.
Yeah, I want to win when I'm 30.
Yeah, we
Keep
can
in mind,
get to that.
I don't know, and I don't know Dallas's exact financial situation, but if you are the Mavericks, you may be willing to overspend just due to what happened last year. You guys just seen how good you can be. Now it's like, do we take a step back or do we capitalize on our momentum? We just ran the table and went to the finals. We played against a team that was better than us. We go get OG. Now we're adding more defense. We're adding more toughness. We're adding that guy who you guys just said 11 to 14 shots a game. OG can give you 20 on any given night. OG makes that team a whole lot tougher. He changes the dynamic of that team. Hey, if I'm Dallas, I would strongly consider it. Keep in mind, I don't know their financial situation.
So as of right now, Ron, so we got Luka on the books for 40. We got Irv on the books for 37. Hardaway comes off the books. PJ Washington is still on the books at 16 million. Gafford is on the books at 12. Kleber, and then you got Derek Lively on his Rook deal. You got Josh Green on the books for a little bit of money. Dwight Powell, who we already know Dwight Powell isn't a starter on a playoff team. You got the rest of these guys making a little bit of money, right? The rest of these guys after Max Kleber, the rest of these guys are making a little bit of money. So does he take Tim Hardaway's money? And if he takes Tim Hardaway's money again, that's almost 18 million. Bro, you got to add 20 more million to that because that's his asking price to start. That's his asking price to start. Irv already on the books for 37 million. So now you got another max guy. Are you prepared to give OG Anunoby a max deal on that unit?
I'm prepared to capitalize on our momentum and our championship run. I would hate for everybody to look back in 6 years, and this is if I'm the Mavericks, and people be like, "Oh man, that was just a fluke championship run," just because we decided not to get better during this offseason. Now, because here's my thing: is even if they go to the Eastern or to the Western Conference Finals 2 out of the next 3 years, they capitalized on that window.
Well, they did that without OG. I mean, they've been to the West Finals 2 of the last 3 years. They did that without OG. Now, if you're going to add OG and you're going to add that money, I mean, what does that do for the overall unit? Because now you got to get a bunch of vets, a bunch of vet minimum contracts. You still have your mid-level exception, but I mean, Luka isn't exactly. When I think about playing with Luka, I mean, it's the dynamic changes in Boston because they won the NBA championship. So it's not going to be hard to get guys to come to Boston for a little bit of money. Dallas, I think that could be the same logic had they won it. It wouldn't be that difficult to come play in Dallas, especially big time vets for a little bit of money.
They can't afford it.
Derrick Jones Jr. was on a vet man.
They're gonna have to give him extra money.
Yeah, he's set for a payday too.
Payday. Dallas have 173 million already on the books for next year.
They in the second apron? That's the second. They make them in the second apron?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. And that's not including the fact that they want to bring back Derrick Jones. And so they're gonna have to get off people more than likely. Tim Hardaway for sure.
Yeah, he gone.
Maxi Kleber maybe. Dwight Powell you're gonna try to get off of, but I don't know who wants Dwight Powell. Like that can try and free up some money, but they don't have enough money to go and get OG Anunoby. They can't offer him a deal in free agency. That's why Jeremy Grant's the one that is on the table because he's a trade. He'll just trade Tim Hardaway, Maxi Kleber, and Dwight Powell. Probably have to give up a pick, and then you bring over Jeremy Grant. They can't go out and get OG. It's just impossible. Whoever, I don't know. CJ McCollum's the head of the Players Association, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
These rules are stupid.
Yeah.
These rules, I don't know why they agreed to them. These rules are stupid. But Well,
Mars,
they've agreed to it.
the 173 million. That's the first apron with Dallas. The first apron exceeds 172 million.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know who was second team that nobody think about? You wouldn't think though. Portland. Portland got a lot of money, man. I think they're like second.
That's because nobody don't want to come up there. That's why. Right. Don't nobody want to play up there. That's why. Teams like Portland. That's why Mars and I go back and forth with this. That's why when you have Oklahoma City, Portland, New Orleans, you have to get the draft right. You got to keep your draft picks, and you got to get the draft right, because nobody is coming to New Orleans as a free agent. Nobody is coming to Portland. Nobody is coming to Minnesota as a free agent. So we got to get our draft picks right. And when we that's why whenever you make trades, we can't give up our draft picks. Oklahoma City, nobody is coming to Oklahoma City as a free agent like that. So we got to make sure that we get our draft picks right. So when we trade, we don't have an opportunity. We don't have the luxury, even though they got like 76 first-round picks, and you can probably give up a few of them, sure, but you still got to get it right in the draft. So places like Utah, Oklahoma City, spots like that, Portland, we have to get it right. And the way we get it right is we got to keep our draft picks.
Stupid.
All right. He sent through a super chat. He said, imagine this backup lineup. Cole Anthony, Anthony Black, Paul George, Jonathan Isaac, and Mo Wagner or Wagner. I'll take Mo Wagner. I'll take PG in Orlando. Get Joe Ingles the fuck out of here.
Ben buddy. I'm sure.
I want to make sure I'm understanding that super chat correctly. Are you saying that Paul George is going to be a rotation guy in Orlando?
Yes.
No.
If Manu Ginobili can do it, Paul George can do it.
If Manu Ginobili's been doing it throughout his whole career. Paul George at this stretch, he's still a starter. I don't think Paul George is a rotation guy. He's still a starter. And I'm not going to Orlando to be a rotation guy. What the hell?
Nah, sacrifice.
Hell no. I ain't going down to Orlando to be no damn rotation player.
Definitely not coming off the bench in Orlando.
Hell no. I ain't doing that.
Sacrifice. Part of the game.
No.
Yeah, sacrifice, but not in Orlando.
No.
Nah, sacrifice.
Who did he come off the bench for?
Right.
France
could play the 3.
2 or the 3?
No.
3-2, either way.
Paul George. Okay, France can play the 2.
Or the 4.
They can play together.
Worst come to worst, them boys running the point guard. We gonna figure it out. As a matter of fact,
nah, man, sacrifice.
France, PG, Jonathan Isaac, Paulo, and Wendell.
Sacrifice.
I could get with that.
I've never understood the obsession with starting anyway. If you finish the game, who cares?
Some guys,
bench players play 33 minutes a game. Why does it matter?
It's the ego thing.
It's a mental thing.
Yeah, so Paul George, pack up the ego, go come with the bench for Orlando. Yeah.
So
pack up the ego.
If they give him that, that super max contract, he might be like, all right.
Like if it was a sport where when you get subbed out, you can't come back in the game. Understandable. You don't want to be on the bench.
That's going on in baseball, Mons. Like
if that's the case, okay, yeah, you want to start and you don't want to get subbed, but basketball, you can get subbed out. You can start the game and get subbed at the first time out. You started for a minute and now you're playing 20 minutes. Who cares? Like,
Mars, a lot of guys are different a lot of guys are different where they can't play coming off the bench. A lot of guys are better as rotation players. A lot of guys, Carmelo Anthony in his prime years, Carmelo Anthony couldn't come off the bench. He couldn't play coming off the bench. That wasn't his game.
Maybe you're not as good as you think. Then, if you have to start to play good, then you're probably not that good.
Facts. That's a cop out. I feel like that's. I've always hated that. I'm not gonna play good if I come off the bench. I'm not gonna play good if I start. Then what are you doing here?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Like, what's what? You can't. My game gonna be different.
Klay actually played better coming off the bench this year.
And then Steve Kerr saw it, and he got sucked into the logic and put him back in the starting lineup instead of keeping him as a rotation guy. Instead of keeping him in the rotation where he was the most effective, which, by the way, I'm surprised we didn't talk about Klay Thompson because I love Klay Thompson, and Indiana, to be quite honest with you. I love him in Indiana, but that's another conversation.
What? No. Klay Thompson's on the agenda. We still have a few more guys to get on the agenda. But since we're here,
I don't want to jump.
Since we're here, Klay Thompson in Indiana. Why do you like that?
I love that. One, how fast they play, how wide open they play. Klay Thompson playing with the distributor that Tyrese Halliburton is, and he's got guys in Mathurin and Naismith as defenders to protect him on the wing, as opposed to him having to be the elite defender that he used to be, because he's not that anymore. How fast they play. I think they play, if I'm not mistaken, I think Indiana Pacers, I think they had the number 2 pace in the league. I think they had the number 1 offense in the league. And to have a long ball shooter like Klay, who I think Klay would I think he would be perfect for what they do. He'll take Dougie McBuckets. He takes that slot, and he's their long ball shooter. And all he has to do is shoot. That's it. He doesn't have to do anything else, because we got the other guys to do the other stuff. And as wide open as that offense is, I think that's great for his game, because we don't have to have Klay putting the ball on the floor. We don't have to worry about Klay being a great defender, anything like that. Tyrese Halliburton will put him in position where he can score it, where he can shoot the basketball and get open looks. I think he'd be great in Indiana.
Yeah, chill. You remember a couple days ago how I said that was either yesterday or Friday. I said what I felt about Klay. I wouldn't want Klay nowhere near my team. Now that you do say that, though, with the way Indiana plays, I'm not mad at Klay coming in and shooting 4 or 5 threes a game.
Mm-hmm. The problem is
they already do it what, Mars? That's
4
too
5. Much. How many minutes is he playing? 10? 4 5.
Yeah. Yes. Yes,
oh
Mars.
My God.
Yes.
Okay.
He's coming off the bench and he's playing 15 to 18 minutes a game.
He's gonna play a lot more than that.
You think so? Well, either way it goes. The point I'm making is you already got Mathurin's going to be doing that. You got Naismith that does that. You got Nembhard that does that, even though these guys do some other things. But you want Obi Toppin. These guys already come in the game and launch a bunch of threes anyways. If I'm going to have somebody come in and launching threes, I mean, why not the immortal man himself?
Ain't Klay looking for like a 3-year deal? I read somewhere he looking for a 3-year deal instead of a 2-year deal.
Apparently, yeah.
Apparently.
And we at the point now with Klay where, in terms of the money, so he just came off of 190. He just came off a 5-year deal for 190. Okay, so the days of $45 and $50 million deals, okay, them days are over. Okay, we done with that.
Did they offer him like 2 years, 48?
I think that I think for Klay, I don't think any team goes higher than 20. I'd be surprised if a team went higher than 20 for Klay. That's why I don't think it's ridiculous to think that he would be back in Golden State. They're not trying to win if they sign him. Let's be clear about that. If they bring Klay back to Golden State, they're clearly not trying to win. We're just keeping the band together, and we basically doing tribute tours. That's all we're doing. We're not really trying to win. But
a lot of people mad at Golden State, but saying that they probably should just still play Klay. But I think, like, was it? After 2019, did they re him up?
Yeah, that's when he signed that deal.
Did they give him another deal?
5-year deal for 190.
That was them saying, "Hey man, we gonna honor you." You know what I mean? Because he was coming off that injury. You know what I mean? So I think they honored him. They done gave him much money as they possibly can.
Right.
I don't know where Klay should go. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, there's a number of different teams that I thought about. I thought about him being back in Golden State. With him being back in Golden State, it's basically us keeping the band together. We ain't trying to win. We're not trying to win. We're just keeping the band together. I really dig him in Indiana. I feel like, I already explained how he would work in Indiana. Would he go play for the Lakers?
He's not playing for the Lakers. Yeah.
That's the thing that I'm thinking about. His father played for them, and him playing with James and playing with a distributor like that and a playmaker like that, and a guy like Austin Reeves who could also pass. I don't hate that. I like him in Philly too. And the reason why I like him in Philly is because I feel like he's a supplement to why am I drawing a blank on his name? Buddy Hield. I'm sorry. Buddy Hield. I feel like if they end up losing Buddy Hield, I think he could supplement what Buddy Hield would do for them. And at the top of the list. I do like him in Orlando. I don't like him in Orlando as much as I like him in Indiana because Orlando doesn't have the distributor that Indiana has. And that's the most important thing with Klay. Klay is not a guy who's getting his own shot. Klay needs to play with a guy who's distributing. That's why the Lakers work. That's why Indiana works. Paolo is a better passer than what I thought. Ron, you turned me on to Paolo a while ago, and I started watching Paolo. Paolo is a better passer than what I give him credit for, but he ain't Tyrese Halliburton, and he ain't James. And Klay needs to run with a guy who is a distributor like that. And because that offense that they run in Orlando, that's not the same offense that they run in Golden State, where it's a lot of action and a lot of ball movement. That's not the same offense that they run in with the Lakers with a lot of action. It's a lot of standing around with the Lakers. So Klay's going to need to be with somebody that is conducive to his skill set.
Chill. That's my thing with Klay, though. I would rather Klay stand still and catch and shoot. That is actually my biggest thing. Klay, I don't want you running around the court like a chicken with his head cut off, shooting fadeaway, turnaround threes. No. Klay, sit here, set your feet, catch the ball, and shoot the ball. I want to simplify it for Klay Thompson as much as possible. I don't want Klay Thompson thinking that he's still Klay Thompson from 2017 and 15. Like that's not the Klay I want. I think I want to Klay, I want you to shoot the ball. But I want to get you better looks. I don't want you just to shoot ill-advised looks, or a lot of contested looks and stuff like that, and make it harder for yourself than it has to be.
There's not many teams that run an offense that is conducive to Klay's style. I mean, Golden State's one. Someone in the comments said Sac. I was gonna say Sacramento.
Miami runs a lot of action off the ball too.
Yeah, with Bam as like the hub. Utah does, but then it's about, does Klay want to win? I don't know. I don't think Utah's going to offer Klay anything, but Utah runs a lot of action. Memphis did last year, but a lot of that's out of necessity. I don't know how much that would stay with Ja back. New Orleans, but that's kind of different because their action is running towards the basket more. So I don't know. Indiana, from a basketball standpoint, would make sense offensively. Defensively, I mean, I guess you're just going all in on offense. But it depends on how much he's asking for and then how much he's trying to play. Because if he's trying to sign for 25 million, 30 million, and play 30 minutes a night, I don't think there's a fit anywhere in the league. So I don't know.
Will somebody over now? Remember who we're talking about, Mars. To Ron's point, we're talking about the immortal Klay Thompson, right? So is there a team that would overpay for him? They would look at him kind of like me and Ron just talked about. You know, that chick that, you know what, I could do something with her. She's not over yet. Okay, sure, she's divorced. She got 2 kids, but she's still kind of bad. And, I could clean her up a little bit.
She got some alimony money on her.
Yeah, she's still,
how old are these kids, though?
Right. That's the problem.
Hey, how long Klay been in the league? 11 years, 12 years?
Yes.
They between 6 and 8.
Yeah, he showed up in 2011. So he showed up in 2011. So I think this year 13 that we in.
13.
I think he's 30. I think he'll be 35 next year.
Yeah, Klay got 5 kids, man.
Yeah, Klay ain't one of them. Klay ain't one of them dudes who's a spring chicken. And Mars and I have had this conversation about him being washed. Now, is he over as a basketball player? I don't think he's over, but is he over as what he used to be? Yeah, 100% he is.
How you guys like Klay to Cleveland?
With Kenny Atkinson? Nahida?
Oh, yeah. Shout out.
Kenny Atkinson's familiar with Klay. He works well with him. Kenny Atkinson was doing magical things for Joe Harris as a shooter.
He had us thinking Joe Harris was really a shooter.
Kenny Atkinson's a good coach. But that means he's playing the 3. I mean, modern climate. Yeah. You lose a lot of defense.
He will probably come off the bench, though.
Wait a minute, though, Mars. You told me that Al Horford's a 5 in today's game.
I said modern climate. I said modern climate. Hey,
modern
I'm not a hypocrite.
Sure.
Well, in this case, I'm not a hypocrite. Let's look at Cleveland's financials because everything comes back to that.
You figure, so they just signed Max Strus to an extension. and that's only for like $58 million. Okay, Okoro's still on
Next
his.
year they got 157 on the books, confirmed.
So they under it. Wait,
but they can get off like Ty Jerome. They can get off that. Dean Wade.
Right. And Okoro, I think Okoro's still on his Rook deal.
Okoro, they actually got to extend him. They got to extend Okoro now.
Yes.
So they got to pay Okoro, or they can let him go. That's up to them.
He's actually gotten better, Mars. I'm not really sure. I want to let Okoro walk. Like I just said, I'm not a fan of guys walking out the front door. When management lets guys walk out the front door, that's just bad for business. I'm just not a fan.
I think you got to move him. I don't think this. I am
not a fan of that. Management. That's a bad look on management. Just
let the ball night, right?
He's got better in the regular season. In the postseason, they leave him wide open, and then he becomes a liability again.
And why is that? I don't get that.
Because regular season jumpers when teams leave you wide open is different from postseason jumpers. Some of it's a confidence thing. When you see teams are daring you, saying we want you to shoot, you might lose confidence in your ability to shoot.
It worked with PJ Washington. It worked with him.
One time.
Still worked. Still works, Mars. Sorry.
So,
and when you leave a dude wide open, Mars, it's something completely different when you leaving a dude wide open. It ain't like
I'll probably move off of Cora. Yeah, we're not talking about PJ. Oh, PJ. But yeah, Cleveland can make sense. But I think they got to figure out what they're doing with Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley, because I don't think that's. I think Evan Mobley has to go to the 5. I think he has to go to the 5. So. I think Jarrett Allen.
I'm trying to figure out what you see with Mobley at the 5 instead of at the 4. I like this big man lineup between these two, Mars.
I don't like it offensively. I like it defensively. I don't like it offensively.
Well, have we seen it though? I mean, these two they were in and out of the lineup, right? They were in and out of
the playoffs the year before.
Okay,
I watched it for 2 years.
Okay, first of all, they were in and out of the lineup this season, so we didn't really get to see much of it. Last year. Not this season that just passed, but the year before that, Mobley is in year 2. He's a baby. So we didn't get to we didn't really get to see much of it. So it's very much like how I feel about both Rudy and Cat. Like once we got to see what it looked like, how much better was it?
Yeah, but that's because they had an offensive and then a defensive guy. So Cat was the offense, Rudy was the defense. When it first happened, I liked it. Then I watched it, didn't like it. Said this ain't gonna work. Then in the regular season this year, it works. Their defense was great. Then in the postseason, it was looking good. And then it devolved into mayhem when they went up against one of the best pick and roll teams in the league. And Cat couldn't guard anything. So,
well, to your
Evan
point,
Mobley and Ireland, I just don't like it on offense.
Well, to your point, when you talk about as an offensive and a defensive guy, that's where the offensive guy has to get better, and that's where we're having a problem.
Yeah, if you're putting money on that, then I guess
that's where I'm at with Mobley. The offensive guy has to get better. He isn't right. I don't think he's where I thought he was going to be. Right, he's not where I thought he was going to be, but I do think he can get better as an offensive player because I've seen him shoot the long ball. Right, I've seen him shoot the long ball. I've seen him get to the basket, but it's not on a consistent basis. So I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out what he's missing. Is it upstairs? Where is it?
I just don't think he's an aggressive offensive. He wasn't aggressive in college either. And also, I mean, Jarrett Allen out there is just the spacing's different. They've made it work. Like I spoke about their high-low action and stuff. Like they make it work. But I mean, I just think in an ideal world, you have one of them and then you have more spacing around the rest. Now, if you pick Jarrett Allen, I mean, then you got your pick and roll partner, lob threat, he can pass, all of those things, rebounding. If you pick Evan Mobley, you probably got more flexibility offensively, but less elite in one area like Jarrett Allen is. But I think you have to pick one or the other, in my opinion. Yeah, offensively. I think you have to pick one or the other. But I don't think Cleveland are going to. But I think if I was in Cleveland's position, I'd be looking at what Jarrett Allen's trade value is. I don't know what it is. If there's nothing worthy, in my opinion, I wouldn't move him. I wouldn't force it. But I'd be exploring it. So, yeah. But Klay's cool in Cleveland.
All right. Back to these super chats. Shout out to everybody that's in here too. Scan that QR code right under. You know what? I'll do you a better one. Don't scan that QR code. Scan this QR code right here. Grab your merch at playerschoicemerch.com. New merch on the way too. I know I keep saying that, but it's gonna pop up sooner than later. It's gonna come like a thief in the night, y'all. But back to these super chats. My man Astro Boy said Holland over Risacher. How? Holland can't shoot.
I mean, yeah, sure. If we're judging ranking prospects based on who can shoot, Reed Shepherd is the number 1 pick. So
by a mile,
there's more
Reed Shepherd and his Dalton Connect.
And then Jared McCain would be like the 3rd pick. So like we're not judging prospects by who can shoot the best. So it's not a shooting competition. There's more to the game than shooting. Ron Holland is the superior athlete, the superior defensive player, the superior playmaker, way better in transition. Like, there's more to the game than just shooting. But I mean, I understand. People end up just being low on prospects who can't shoot, and then act like they're just not that good. But
they can't develop that, because it ain't like Kawhi Leonard came in as a bucket getter when he first showed up.
That was actually Kawhi's knock, because that he couldn't shoot.
Right.
Yeah, his shot was
right.
He
was not a bucket getter when he first showed up, and all of a sudden Kawhi Leonard is now 25, 26 a game, and he's got a money mid-range game. Now we're talking about him in the same breath with Bryant and KD and Jordan as a mid-range shooter. So when you talk about these prospects, the fact that they can't shoot, again, I'm not a pro. I've said this to you guys 1,000 times, and I don't mean you guys up here on the panel. I've said this to you guys 1,000 times. When I come to the NBA, I am not a pro. I have pro potential. You guys have to teach me the pro game. I don't know it yet, and I have to develop into a pro. That's why these guys that you see don't develop, because the systems that they're in are terrible, and they end up getting lost in the sauce. So,
and also too, like, these GMs aren't just, well, for the most part, they're not just dumb. Like, they know when they draft a guy what's his strengths and what's his weaknesses. At least what he's shown you at that level.
We got a couple of dizzy GMs.
We for sure got some airheads as GMs. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Dizzy ass GMs.
but just like, you know, Ron Holland can't shoot. If whatever team drafts him, they know that he's lacking in that department. Their job is to draft him, knowing what his flaws are, and to work on his flaws. So he's going to be, the teams are actively going to be trying to get him to shoot. They're actively gonna, and I'm assuming he has the motivation to get better as a shooter too.
And he's not a terrible free throw shooter. So like, there's foundations. You need the right shooting development. Detroit just got what's his name, Fred Vinson, I think, from New Orleans. He's the one who fixed Lonzo's jumper and Brandon Ingram's. And he's worked with like Jose Alvarado and Herb Jones, and they've become better shooters. So Detroit at 5, now that they've got a shooting development coach, they can go get a Ron Holland or a Matas Buzelis or any other prospect where shooting is their question mark. And they can trust their development. Now, I think it's risky with Detroit because they've also got Asar Thompson who can't shoot, and then their bigs can't shoot. So I don't know if they want to bank all in on their shooting development and take that risk, but I think Ron Holland has foundations to be a solid shooter at some point, even if it's just stationary catch and shoots from 3, but just adding layers to his game.
Mars, how tall is Ron Holland?
6'7". I want to say
6'7".
7-foot wingspan, 6'11" wingspan, something like that.
Okay. I'm interested to see between Ron Holland, like these bigger wings, Ron Holland, Zachary Risacher, even Buzelis as well. How these guys, it's a couple other guys too, how these bigger wings translate into the NBA. I know, Chill, how you said like you see this being the future of the NBA, these big unicorn guys and stuff like that. I'm eager to see like how these guys look at the shooting guard. Zachary Richardson, he's 6'10", and they got him as a Klay Thompson prototype. How does he look like as a 6'10" shooting guard? And obviously he can still play the 3, he can still play the 4. You said he's more Keegan Murray?
I see more Keegan Murray.
Yeah, I can see that too.
But it's about quickness. So that's what it is. Ron Holland could do it because I think he moves well enough in terms of quickness to match up with backcourt players. Risacher, not so much. Not right now anyway. But with the league's getting bigger from like the guard position, and it's like getting smaller from the center position. Smaller in terms of size, not height. Yeah. So like I think you're gonna end up seeing lineups with 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", and then a 7'2" skinny big. That's just gonna be what the NBA is gonna be. So yeah, I think
insane.
Getting guys like that's another reason why I'm not very high on Reed Shepherd. He's 6'1". So I just don't see.
And that's the other thing, Mars. That's why I have in Ox. There's a guy in the draft right now. You will love him. He's at the University of Akron, 6'7". His name is Enrique Freeman. You're gonna love this guy. I think that he's one of the sleepers in the draft. Led the MAC 4 straight years in rebounding. Led the conference in. I think he led the conference in scoring last year.
Enrique Freeman.
Enrique Freeman, run like a deer. He was a walk-on. He was a walk-on his freshman year. He ended up redshirting. The next 4 years, not only a 4-year starter, led the conference. He ain't lead this crew. He led the conference in rebounding. I think he was in the top 3 in the league in scoring. So the motor is there. The work ethic is there. One of the knocks on him is that he's got a problem with his jump shot, but they like the fact that it can improve. So a dude like this is a dude that I'm figuring you can build on. Because the last time I checked, they was talking about guys like this, like that was Ron Harper coming out of college.
Yeah,
the game's changed. How long do you give 22, 23-year-olds to develop now in the more?
See, that's the problem.
I'm not saying I agree with it.
Yeah,
that's just like when you get to that age, it's like they kind of expect you to be close to a finished product. If you still need to work on this or this skill isn't
23 years old. I mean, damn, 23.
Hey man, that's the life in the NBA right now. Do I agree with it? Not necessarily, not in all cases, but that's just
like this kid.
That's why you don't really see many 22, 23-year-olds go in the lottery. It's like Chris Duarte, Dalton Connect this year, and then Jaime was like close to the lottery.
Right.
But for the most part, they don't really go with the elder statesmen. And Chris Duarte kind of peaked in his rookie year, and now he's like 27 in year 4. So it's like, I'm not a big fan of that. So
what y'all think of Ryan Dunn?
I love Ryan Dunn. I think he's the best defender in the draft. The issue is I think he might be the worst offensive player in the draft.
Hey, Mars, but hey, hold on, Mars. What y'all just said though, man. Hey, man, what Chill just said, he might be able to develop. Kawhi Leonard ain't have no jumper.
0.
I think he contribute to a championship team. If he fall to a team, I think he contributed to a rookie year in a championship team defensively. Kawhi did.
Yeah, but it depends. Once again, the game's changed. I don't think you can just have offensive liabilities out there anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Like Jared Vanderbilt, he was hurt this year, but he's hard to play in the postseason. Yeah. Isaac Okoro is hard to play in the postseason. Matisse Thybulle is hard to play in the postseason. And Ryan Dunn's worse than all of them on offense.
Yeah.
Is it that these guys aren't working on what's necessary at the next level, or they just don't have it?
I mean, improvement's hard. I mean,
is it though, Mars?
Yeah. I think if you're just not good at something, it's hard.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, as a ball handler, I'm just not that nice with the peel. As a jump shooter, my mechanics, it's really difficult to fix them. As a defender, I'm just slow. And there's really not much that you can do about me being slow or something like that. But if I have all of the necessary tools to get better at this, why am I not improving? Is it that the coach or the system isn't allowing me to improve? Because I'm having a difficult time with this kid Thybulle, who when he was in Philly, okay, sure, he's not a long ball shooter, right? But is he not a long ball shooter for Doc Rivers, or it just never developed?
I mean, I think some of it is, and this seems to be like the more of the case with like the more athletic players. Matisse Thybulle kind of fits in that mold in terms of the length, the athleticism, the speed, all of those things. Sometimes you just don't have to work on the skill development side. Like you, in your mind, it's like I'm getting by on my athleticism, my skill, like in terms of my natural talent, that I don't really have to work on it too much. And then you get to the league and it's like, oh, okay, interesting. I don't stand out as an athlete anymore. And you try and work on things. And like I always say, I think skill is a skill. Skill is a talent, just like I think athleticism is a talent. I think some people just have a natural proclivity to be able to shoot. I think guys like Matisse Thybulle, they can work on it and become serviceable from certain spots on the floor, but they're never going to become Klay Thompson. Like, no matter how hard Matisse Thybulle works. And I think he works. I'm not going to question guys' work ethic because I think for the most part, if you get to the league, you're probably working hard, especially if you're not like God-given talent. You're probably working hard. And Matisse Thybulle said he picked up the game late. He said he couldn't make layups consistently in high school. So he said he picked up the game late. So he obviously worked on his game. But I just think he's probably just not a very good shooter. I just think whatever skills you may require, he's just not very good. Now, do I think skill development can help that in some regards? Yes. Some mechanical issues can be fixed, like in terms of your shot prep, your footwork, speeding up the release, all of those things that they can be worked on. But maybe Matisse Thybulle at his best is just a 38% shooter on open threes. Maybe he just can't get to a 44% on open threes. He's just not that talent. The same way, no matter what Duncan Robinson does, he's never going to be able to jump like a Men Thompson. Like no matter what he does, he can be in the gym working on plyometrics 24 hours a day. He just ain't got it.
I get that. I
think that's what
I do understand that there's guys who there's really not much else you can do with them, but for guys like Isaac Okoro, who it's obvious that he's working on his shot because he's gotten better. It's obvious that he's working on his shot. So why doesn't that stuff translate with these other guys? And I don't mean why doesn't it translate like it does with him because there's a different skill set. What I'm saying is when these guys have themselves in the gym and they're working on their games, why aren't you translating that to the game? Is it because you're not working on the stuff that's going to make you better? And do the coaches just not see that you're getting better? Because it doesn't make sense when I'm 23 years old. At 27, I should be at my peak. Like Bam, when Bam showed up, I mean, Bam was a 20 and 10 guy. Bam wasn't a 20 and 10 guy until last year. That was year 6.
Yeah, everybody's timelines are different though, Chill.
Yeah, progression isn't linear. Some players peak early, some players come into their own later. I always like the idea that you're in year 3 and you haven't panned out. This is me going on the Jalen Green tangent, if you can't tell. The idea that you're in year 3 and you haven't panned out, it's like, oh, so we have to give up. I mean, some players progress. You see the development year upon year. Some players develop and it just comes out of what seems like nowhere. Some players they start off slow and then they just explode. Like everyone's different in terms of their development. I mean, I'm sure these guys are working on things, and also some things you may work on just doesn't translate to the game. Like I'd hope for the most part, NBA players are working on things that does translate, but for the most part, if you're just in the gym just shooting wide open jumpers stationary, that's not translating to the game, because in the game you're going to be running up and down the court, you're going to be tired, you have to be shooting with fatigue. You have to shoot against the closeout. You have to shoot coming off pin downs or calls or all of those things. Game speed. Like, there's a lot of things that, like, everyone has seen the clips of Ben Simmons in an open gym. Like, any NBA player can make threes if it's an open gym. I've seen Steven Adams making corner threes, like, but he's never going to shoot him in the game, and he can't make free throws because the game and practice isn't the same. I've seen in other sports, I've seen guys who work on things all the time, and then a game comes around and they can't do it. Like, practice is always going to be different to the game. It's just a different environment. The crowd plays a part, the adrenaline, the nerves. Like, you can't replicate a game environment in practice. No matter how hard you try, you can't replicate it. You can try and get close, but it won't be replicated. So you just got to trust the work you put in and then trust the process. Yeah. And a lot of his confidence too. If you don't have the confidence to shoot, you're not going to make shots. Draymond Green spoke about that. One of the biggest reasons his jump shot fell off a cliff is because when KD and them joined and he stopped shooting, and then when he left and it was time for him to start shooting again, he lost confidence in his shot. He sees a couple miss, he doesn't want to shoot anymore. This year he started to get his confidence back a little bit. He shot the ball better. He's still not a shooter and teams aren't going to guard him, but a lot of his confidence in terms of that stuff too and skill development. So you just got to trust the work you put in.
I want to shout out Matisse Thybulle again and Corey Kispert, two guys that I have yet to give a shout out to, but they're both Seattle guys.
I was about to ask
Corey Kispert's from Seattle?
Yeah.
And I like Corey Kispert. I want him to get freed from Washington. Him and Denny Avdia. I want him to get freed.
Yeah. Well, Sonics are coming back. Come back to Washington. we would love for you to be here.
I'm glad you brought that up, Ron. Not David Stern. I'm sorry. I'm so used to saying David Stern. Memo to Adam Silver. I'm sorry, sir. You are doing a great job as the commissioner of the NBA. When you talk about expansion, I'm sure that Mexico City is a great sports town. I'm sure it's a great town for sports. Las Vegas, they have plenty going on there. When you talk about expansion, Seattle should be the first name on your list. I am asking you right here, right now, Mr. Adam Silver, get those people back their team up in Seattle, please. The team was stolen from them years ago. Basketball needs to be back in Seattle at a pro basketball level. Give those people up in Seattle their team back, please. Please.
It's unfortunate. They lost their team because of Katrina. That's so. It's weird. Yeah.
Man, they got the Storm. If they love their team, they would have never lost it.
Adam, please, I beg of you. Bring my boys back.
Get them
Please,
their team
Adam.
back, man. Get them their team back up there. Please give them back their team. Thank
Adam,
you.
nobody cares about Sacramento. Worst come to worst, just send him up north.
Well, it's obvious that's not the case because they tried to do that, and Kevin Johnson
tried that
was not
already.
Right? He wasn't trying to hear that. I don't know if you know this, Mars, but that's exactly what Seattle tried to do.
Newsflash, buddy. Tried that already.
Seattle tried to steal the Sacramento Kings out of Seattle, and Kevin Johnson was the mayor of Seattle at the time. Was like, nope, that's not happening. No way.
Well, we actually just tried to do Sacramento a favor.
Right.
Well, the players of Sacramento, we tried to do them a favor.
No,
but you know, sometimes everybody doesn't want to be helped. Everybody doesn't want to be elevated. Oh, and one more thing too. Shout out to Doug, just because Sports Fluent. That's you.
W Fluent. I haven't seen Fluent in a minute.
All right, y'all. I got a super chat from Zach Spad. He said Mavs' dream offseason is finding a way to get Grant and Lonzo while maintaining their core 5 to 7 guys. Don't know how they get it done, so I need you guys to tell me how it's possible. Love the content, fellas. Appreciate you for sending that through, Zach.
Well, Lonzo might be available on the. I think they're trying to buy out Lonzo. I think now that they got Giddy, I think that's what I read. Or so, they're trying to move off of him, something like that. Oh, hello. They're trying to move off of him, something like that. So you might be able to get Lonzo for the cheap. If the cheap means Tim Hardaway, I don't know, but for the cheap, Jeremy Grant, I don't know how you get both of them because Jeremy Grant making like 30 million. I don't know where you're getting that money from. So I think it'll be one or the other. And I think Lonzo's the easier one to get, but he's also the more risky, clearly.
I think that's an understatement.
Yeah.
I don't even think at this point, I don't even think it's a risk. Like,
excuse me.
I think that's a stupid investment. It's not a risk. It's dumb. I'm not signing Lonzo Ball.
What's a
You're not
dumber investment? What's a dumber investment? Ben Simmons or Lonzo?
Oh, come on. That's like pick your poison, Mars. You're dead. I don't care. I don't care.
I mean, which death will make you suffer less?
Flip a coin.
What are them deaths?
Well, you know what, Lonzo? I want Lonzo. I don't want. Like I said before, I don't want Ben Simmons anywhere in my facility. I don't want him anywhere around my organization. I don't want you by my players. Just get the hell out of here. Like, if that's what I'm saying, Brooklyn should have just cut the loss and paid them whatever they owed them and said, just get out of Brooklyn. You better be across the Brooklyn Bridge by sundown. Don't come around here no more.
Next year when Ben Simmons is hooping, just stay on that side. That's all I know.
I would gladly.
Ben Simmons' redemption tour is coming, man. That's cool.
And next year when Lonzo playing on one knee, keep that same energy, Big Ox.
That playing on one knee thing ain't no joke. When you got a bum knee, you got a bum knee. Like, it's serious, but you need your knees, bro. For real.
I believe him.
I was playing on one knee last night. I felt pretty damn.
I meant to ask you about that. Was you getting cooked last night? I tried to call. I called Ron yesterday. Chill.
Hey boy,
he like, hold on, bro. I'm gonna call you right back. He said I'm about to go hoop. He said if I don't call you back, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? So you know what that means? That means he got torched. You know who I didn't hear from yesterday?
Yeah, it was quite the contrary, Ox. I'm talking about boy. Hey, chill. I ain't lost a step. As a matter of fact, I didn't gain a step.
You still nice, Ron?
So I ain't been in the gym working out as much as I would like to.
Yeah.
But I damn near feel more athletic than I've ever been. I'm talking about chill. I came through last night. And I'll jump from about the dotted lines.
You had them nights, man. You had them nights when I'm on top of my
finger rolled it.
I'm on top of my game.
I told you what I was gonna do last night. I told you what I was gonna do.
Mhm.
Yeah, legs still feel good though. I'm still getting well above the rim, so that's all right. Speaking of well above the rim and dunking and whatnot, I got a message from the dreaded Laker media cartel, and they said we got to play the video. So we got to play the video.
The proof that he's washed. Yeah.
And this is LeBron and Obi.
Obi big as
Look, man, he's not even getting off the ground.
No, he's not.
It's sad, man.
No.
It's sad, man.
James, you need to retire, yo. You over.
Look.
James, you over, man. You retired.
I can see that high. Oh, man.
Retire, James. You over, my man.
It's tragic. It's tragic, man.
Shout out Bron and Obi putting on a show.
He out here 360 and all that. Boy, he still got it. Go ahead, bro.
Still got it.
Oh, man, that's
just because his mouth ain't over the rim no more.
Yeah,
He's still punching it though.
Nah, but think
clean too, Ox.
Yeah, punching.
Think about what that
clean.
used to be, though. Think about what
who can damn what it used to be. He doing stuff that I know some 23-year-olds that can't do that.
He used to be jumping through the ceiling.
Kind of like
I know some 18-year-olds that can't. Some 18-year-olds that can't do that. That's trying to get a scholarship right now.
Is it like KD turning the corner, Mars?
Yeah, it's like
Is it like that?
Man, that's sad to see, man. Sad to see. That's maybe the most athletic player ever. And look at him. Again,
look at him. What? Still being athletic?
I mean, but hold on.
I think
if you show a
7-year-old,
if you show a 7-year-old who never got to see prime LeBron athleticism, that video, they're not gonna think he a better athlete than Obi. They're not gonna think that. They know.
It ain't about being a better athlete.
But hold on,
it's about being 40 and 360.
You see where it used to be. You see where it used to be, and now look.
Mark, if we would have watched that without Obi, it would have actually looked a whole lot better. It's just
it would have looked way better.
Obi is
you still.
I don't know, Rob. What, 15 years younger than him? Something like that.
Obi jumps higher than Bron, and he's bigger than Bron. So it just looks crazy when Obi's in the air dunking. But if you like Bron doing that stuff is still
for his age is great. For his age,
is Obi the best dunker in the NBA?
I don't know. It's a lot of dunkers in the NBA, bro. I can't possibly.
I'm not talking about coming and dunking on people.
Contest dunk or in game? Like,
let's say fast break dunk. Fast break dunk.
I don't think he better than Anthony Edwards.
I mean, I think he's the most creative in terms of like he'll go do an East Bay in game or he'll go do something crazy. But I don't think he's the best dunker. But I do think he's the most. He'll put on a show in like transition and stuff more than most people.
And so that's what I'm saying. Like right there, if we talk about a guy that's gonna put on the best show, LeBron is sitting here in a room with him trying to outdunk him. Like, come on.
I wasn't even watching Obi. I was watching LeBron just looking back at like what that used to be. It's like
it was like everybody. If we being honest, Mars, it was like everybody during those prime years. It was like everybody was on regular. It looked like he was on fast forward, and everybody was on regular. That's what it looked like.
Forget Obi's. I don't care. Obi, cool, whatever. That LeBron, and then you go and watch like 09, 08, 07 LeBron. You just see the difference. It's like
it's not close.
Like it was 15 years ago. So,
right.
Yeah. But it's like
important to mention that.
Like, people are gonna take this as me hating on LeBron. It's like
no,
I don't take that
coming to an end. That's all it is. It's like
I don't take that you hating, Morris. I take it more so as you not appreciating the athleticism that he still has. Like,
oh yeah, he's
now,
still
Mars, you're not doing that.
Still, no, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, that because I've said this before. LeBron was like the peak of Mount Everest. So him dropping, he's still like very high up the mountain relative to everyone else. It's just when you were at the pinnacle, the drop is like, damn. Like he's still a great athlete. He's still a top. There's 450 in the league, so 10% would be 45. He's a top 8% athlete in the league. Top 8%.
That's crazy for.
But he used to be
39-year-old.
the 100th percentile. It used to be
he's
LeBron.
Mars, not even
think
a
about
question
that.
about it. He was
Exactly.
100.
It was who's the second most athletic player in the league. That was it. Now LeBron's he a top 25 athlete.
Well, but think about what we're talking about though, Mars. Like you just said, so he's still at age 39 in the 92 percentile.
Yeah, that's what's crazy. Like he's still crazy compared to the league. But when it used to be who's the most athletic player ever? LeBron, Wilt.
It wasn't a question.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
That's the conversation. Now it's who's more athletic? LeBron, Jaden Ivey. I'm not saying that, but you get the point I'm making.
Right. This is this is now what we've been reduced to.
Yeah, it's like
right.
Like that's all I'm saying. Damn. But
I get what you're saying.
Appreciate how good he's going to be 40 next year, and he's going to be one of the 30 best athletes in the league, which is ridiculous.
See, Mars, when you start getting older, Mars, in your young age, you're looking at it that way. When you start getting older, you're going to be more of a half glass full type guy. I know you're half empty type of guy right now, but that's just because of your youth. You know what I'm saying? But as you get older, I'm sure you'll start seeing it half full, and you'll be like, "Damn, dude's 40 years old, 360." You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's fire. And obviously, I get what you're saying. Don't get me wrong. I understand exactly what you mean. If you look back what he was doing in those days and now, it's like, damn. But still, it's like the fact that you can still do it. Like when you see, like y'all see that video of Dominique Wilkins dunking like a year or two ago. It's just like stuff like that is crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I seen a video of Dr. J dunking a couple years ago.
Yeah, Dr. J. I seen Dr. J.
He was 61.
Yeah, so like, I 1,000. Like when you think of it, for LeBron's age, what he's doing is crazy. So I don't want to take anything like not just he's probably the most athletic, definitely the most athletic year 21 player we've had. Probably the most athletic 39-year-old we've had in the league. I don't know what Vince was still doing at 39. Probably the most athletic 39.
Bron still had Vince.
Probably the still most athletic 39-year-old we've ever seen. So like in that regard, it's wow. And then it's 09 LeBron, 24 LeBron. That. So it's like, yeah. It's bittersweet, I guess. Bittersweet.
Like that's what you're matching them up against. Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfair. 1,000%. It's unfair that, hey, LeBron, look at
that's the bar that he's set
version of yourself. So like I get it. It's unfair, but I'm just looking at it and like I'm sorry, I can't help but be like, I seen what that was looking like 15 years ago. Now look.
Y'all ain't see Vince get the reverse dunk in the suit?
Yeah, I seen it. That was a couple years ago, like 2022, 2021, something like that. Yeah.
And speaking of LeBron, the Lakers are prepared to offer LeBron a 3-year max deal.
And what does that? What's that look like?
He gonna be that's like 58 a year, something like that, something crazy.
Yo, that is ridiculous.
Which is basically, and to be honest with you, I know it sounds nuts, Ron, but it's really thank you money, and the money that they're gonna make off of him still playing over these next.
He's still a top 10 player in the league.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's not. This ain't a legacy deal. He's still
right
like that. So it's that too.
I do think that part of it is thank you money because I don't think he's going to play that much longer. I'd be surprised if he played more than 2 years. I'd be surprised if he played that long. But the money that they're going to make back from paying him $59 million, I mean, it definitely makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's a good deal for basketball and business. Mm-hmm. I mean, you let LeBron go, who you gonna replace him with that's as good? No one's available on the market in free agency who's better than LeBron. He's the best free agent available this year by a wide margin. The next best would be who? Paul George?
Paul Lamar.
Yeah, it's LeBron by a wide margin. So he's still the most valuable free agent, business-wise and basketball-wise. Now,
when I look at
42, I don't know, but with the way this man playing, I don't know. By 42, he might be what Paul George is now. I don't know. Like
he's most valuable right now, more valuable than OG,
which doesn't even sound correct. That sounds nuts.
I mean, in terms of who the best player is, yes.
Mars, yes.
But
yes, absolutely.
OG, but he's saying OG will cost $20 million less.
Okay, if you're factoring in costs,
value in terms of all of those things. I get what you're saying, but what I was saying was he's just by far like he's the best free agent available.
Right. So to Mars's point, Ox, to ask you today, James or Siakam?
Today, right now.
Today, James or Siakam?
I'd sign Pascal over LeBron right now. I'd sign Pascal and OG over LeBron right now.
Well, hold on though. Are you talking about over an extended period of time, or are you talking about right now?
We're talking about free agents.
Now, I think out of all of them, Pascal's the safest bet.
We're talking about guys that just came, like Pascal just came off the books. Malik Monk just came off the books. So today, Ox, James or George?
Now, I just want to know real quick before I answer the question. So, are we talking about everything involved? Are we talking about who's a better player? Are we talking about what we're getting for value?
We talking about in 2024 free agents today, right? Free agents today. Who is the better free agent on the market? That's what we're talking about.
I think OG is the best.
So
the best free agent.
So James, Paul George, Klay Thompson, Tobias Harris, James Harden, Gordon Hayward, Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Buddy Hield, Bruce Brown, Evan Fournier, OG, D'Angelo Russell, Gary Trent, Markelle Fultz, KCP, Valanciunas, Malik Beasley. That's just a few guys. Of those free agents, who is the best free agent on the market?
Besides those guys.
Of all of those guys that I just
all those guys, OG,
including James.
OG, yeah.
You would take
this nigga's off his rocker James right now, boy.
Yeah,
all right, bro. Sometimes I'll just be letting some stuff slide, but this is ridiculous. In the words of Ticket, your girl need to walk in that room and slap you with a handful of baby powder. You out of your mind right now.
Never said that to me, Ron. What are you talking about?
Well, LeBron said that. Hey, she need to do you like old boy in How High. Take the baby powder and slap you like this. That don't make no sense, bro. Come on. On no team, if they had to sign a 1-year deal, is taking OG Anunoby over Braun. If it's the same price and all of that, nobody.
Yeah, but you're saying LeBron's the better player. I mean, I think you've got to factor in the fact that LeBron will be 42 at the end of the deal. So, like, will OG over a 3-year stretch provide more value for you than LeBron will over a 3-year stretch?
No.
Once again, not saying I agree with Ox. I'm just saying I think that has to be factored in.
And on top of that, you know what's crazy? If I didn't know any better, if I was just looking at him over the last, how long has OG been in the league?
Since 17.
If I had just watched these two for the last 7 years, I didn't know their ages, I didn't know nothing. I would think LeBron's the younger one because not only does he, move better than OG, but on top of that, OG sits out more games. OG's more injury prone than Bron.
I think he's played over 60 games twice in the last 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. OG has. Maybe I'm wrong.
LeBron also has inconsistent effort on defense, whereas OG doesn't. But
I'll give OG the nod on the defensive end.
The nods. I mean, okay, yeah.
After that,
no, I'm with you. I think LeBron is the most valuable free agent. But I think if you factor in the age, the long-term part of it, the fact that OG is going to be making 15 to 20 million less, I understand the angle of OG could be the more valuable. I disagree. I'm still going with LeBron because I think he's just far and away better than everyone available. But I can understand the angle from which I think Ox is coming from.
So is it any team that really just outright makes sense for OG to go there over a 3-year stretch?
Over LeBron?
Yeah. Let's say teams can afford both of them, because obviously it's certain teams that can't afford LeBron that might be able to afford OG. Let's see teams can afford both of them. Is there any team where it's like, no, I'd rather have OG?
Would the Knicks say that?
For the next 3 years?
For the next 3 years.
Every team.
No.
OKC?
OKC would definitely take OG Anunoby over James for the next 3 years.
No, they wouldn't.
I'm just asking. I'm
telling you, no, they would not.
For 1 year? Now for 1 year, Ron, 100%.
for 3 years.
How old is OG? Like 28?
26. He's 26.
He's 26?
26 years old.
Yeah, I don't know.
The
I don't know if
26
OKC going for 42-year-old LeBron. I don't know if they're going for that. But maybe I don't know. Like I genuinely don't. I mean, I don't think the terrible teams are taking old man LeBron for any reason. But I mean, I guess you're talking about like the good teams.
To sell tickets, they are absolutely doing that. Washington is taking James because they need to.
Would the Pacers take LeBron over OG?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if they.
The reason I'm laughing at this is because like this is where we are with James. I mean, in year 21, we still we don't have this conversation with any other 39-year-old. A 39-year-old over a 26-year-old. We don't have that conversation with any of them about that guy. But we got a guy now in the league who's going into year 22 that it's a realistic conversation that we'll go with the 39-year-old over the 26-year-old all-league defender.
I mean, number 32 in Utah was pretty good at 39.
Yeah, he was. I won't argue.
You know, I'm not giving him flowers for anything, but
right,
he was a pretty good player at 39. But yeah, LeBron is undoubtedly the best 39-year-old we've ever seen, I think. Unless you would make the argument for number 32, but I don't know why I don't want to do that.
Terrell in the chat said Ron doing tricks on it right now. I'm just telling the truth. What team is taking OG Anunoby over LeBron?
I think the Pacers was a good pick. I think the Pacers is a good pick.
I could see the Pacers. Okay. I still don't think that they do that, but I can see your logic behind that. Drink More Water said the Pelicans. Eli the Misfits said Miami. Both of those teams need point guards. Who better than a 6'9" point guard that can come in and do everything else too? I'm just saying LeBron checks more boxes than OG as well. Like I'm telling you, it's no team that LeBron wouldn't go to and make better. And it's no team that they would not take LeBron over OG Anunoby. I'm sorry.
No, Dallas is a good option.
I
think Dallas would take OG. I think Dallas would take OG.
Yes. I thought you meant James. I'm sorry. I was like,
James. Yeah, I think Dallas would take OG. Shout out to Plaza.
I do not think so.
There's no way they're going Luka and Bron. There's no way.
No, they're not doing that, Ron.
Here's the thing. This is what Dallas is going to do. They are going to try to form somewhat of the Avengers, get Kyrie and LeBron back with Luka. Come on, man. That's box office. It's no way they turn that down.
I think if Dallas were competent, they would take OG if they were competent in that situation. LeBron and Luka there's no point.
We take OG, and I think the Warriors might take OG as well.
No,
I think the Warriors would take. I think if the Warriors took OG, it would be because Steph said he doesn't want LeBron.
That's the only. I was just about to say that if Steph okayed it, otherwise, no, they would go with James.
Yeah, I like Dallas and Indiana. Those are the teams I would say. Denver, I think Denver would take OG. I think Denver would. Okay, Denver's another one. Okay, nice. Shout out to teams. Joshua. I think Indiana, Denver, and Dallas are teams I'm confident would take OG.
Yeah.
That's 10% of the league. Right? That's 10% of the league. Yeah, that's 10% of the league. That's enough for me.
I believe there's quite a bit more than that. But.
The Rockets? Who y'all with, Morris?
I would take OG.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Because like I said, there's no point of us we're too far away from competing for us to go get an old superstar. Like it just doesn't make sense for both parties. We're not ready. We're like, next year is our play-in / top 6 seed year. And then the year after that, if everything goes well, is the year we should be trying to make a playoff run. We're still 2 years away from being in the upper echelon of the conference, in my opinion.
I think you underselling your boys, Mars. I do. I think you underselling your boys. I think next year, I would not be surprised if you had a top 5 finish. That would not surprise me at all.
And I think we could do that and then lose in the first round.
Sure, but I do think that you could have a top 5 finish next year. I do not think I don't think it's ridiculous that you guys, I mean, the fact that you won 40, I think y'all won 41 games last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what's a top five? A top 5 finish is 9 more games. And with 9 more, and don't forget, you lost Sengun relatively late in the season. If you get Sengun and he's healthy the whole season, which, by the way, Ox, if I'm Jalen Green, I'm finding out where Sengun is and me and him getting together to work out. Why? Because me and him got to get on the same page. I got to figure out what his nuances is, what mine are, because what we don't want to do is we don't want to go backwards from where we all were. We don't want to do that. We want to at least stay where we are and move forward. So I got to start understanding where he wants the ball. He needs to understand my game, how we play off of each other. So we got to get together and just get our games on the same page. Plus, Jabari Smith comes back better next year. Dylan Brooks, with the unit that you have, I'm on record saying it. I think y'all Sacramento from 2 years ago. With Ime Udoka, how he has you guys coaching, how he coached you guys up, and in addition to coaching you guys up, how hard he had you guys playing. There was no direction 2 years ago with Silas. There's accountability now. Not only is there accountability, there's more effort. With more effort, you see this guy, Jalen Green, becoming much better player than what he was 6 months ago, where there were people who were talking about him maybe being out the league. I think that's going to resonate throughout the rest of the crew. I think that Houston could be a top 5 seed next year. I think you're underselling your boys, Mars.
I think we can, but I think the West is just annoying because we could be a better team next year and still be the 11 seed. The West is just annoying. Like, we could be a better team in all departments, better offensively, better defensively, more consistent, less injured. And then Golden State get better. The Clippers are still good. The Lakers, the Nuggets, the Thunder, the Wolves, the Kings, the Grizzlies come back.
Right.
The Pelicans are still good. The Suns. Mm-hmm. And then, oh, wow, we're a better team. We're still the 11th seed. It's like, what are we meant to do if we just end up in a conference where every team is healthy and they're all good? So, like, I'm not going to judge us. I'm not going to judge us on where we finish, because if the whole league is healthy and we're still in 11th seed and I still see us get better, I'm not going to be like, oh, we failed, because I think it's all contextual. Because if we could technically be worse next year, if the whole West is hurt, we can get a 7th seed. That doesn't mean we were better. It just means we got lucky. So
that's part of it, though, Mars.
Yeah. Luck. I'll take it if we get in the playoffs. However we get there, I'll take it. But I don't think that means we are a better team. But I do think we have the capability, like you said, to be like a top 5 team. Right. But I think we also have the capability to be the 11th seed. And it all depends on what happens around us, how we develop. And the optimist would say everyone on our team gets better, and we still are coached by Ime, etc. And we have a great team. Or the pessimist will say Jalen Green's March run was a fluke. Alperen Sengun, this is probably just who he is. Amen Thompson won't get much better. Jabari is who he is. And we just end up being a mid-40 win team. Like, it depends on the optimism versus pessimism.
Well,
so, I really like that. OG to the Spurs. Go ahead, Joe.
And that's what it sounds to me more like, Mars, because when I think about the 11 seed, okay, so this year that just passed, you guys were the 11 seed and you won 41 games. Last year, in the 22-23 season, Dallas won 38 games. That's the 11th seed. So for you guys to be the 11th seed, that would mean that you guys are either going to stay right where you are, which means you didn't improve, or you're going backwards. Because I'm having a difficult time with the logic that you guys are going to be like Jalen Green is actually that month and a half that he played. I don't think that was a fluke. I don't think that was a fluke. I think Sengun comes back better. And don't get me wrong, Mars. I'm not sure that Jalen Green is 29 or 30 a game. I'm not saying that he's not. I'm not saying that he's not. But I do think he's better than 22 a game. I do believe that.
It's going to be a strong 24-25 this year out of Jalen.
That's what I'm saying, Mark. That's what I'm saying.
It better be, man. It better be, man. Next year has to be the year.
I definitely think he's better than 22 a game. I do think that, right? So with that being said, I think that with Jabari Smith improving, Eason improving, these guys are not coming back the same. And I think that with Ime Udoka actually seeing what he has, I'm sure with the exit meetings, you have to get better at this. You have to get better at that. You have to get better at this. I'm projecting the not the Dallas Mavericks, I'm sorry, Houston, if they were a 41-win team this year, barring injuries and what the Western Conference has been in terms of a juggernaut and how easily it is to go from, I mean, the Oklahoma City Thunder didn't make the playoffs last year. They were the number 1 seed.
That is
They were the number 1 seed this year. They had the best record in the West. So the way the Western Conference is, it's not ridiculous to think that a young group like the Houston Rockets, with the talent that they have and a motivator like Ime, could easily get right back into the top 5. That could definitely happen with them.
Well, Chill, it appears as if the chat isn't buying this because with the poll I'm running, I said, what seed will the Rockets finish next year? 1 to 3, that's 4%. Yep. Lottery. So a lot of people don't think y'all be in the lottery, Mars. 8% said lottery. 11% said 4 to 6. And 76% said 7 to 11.
Right. Playing sounds about right. Playing sounds about right. But we won't know until I see how guys have developed. So if Jalen Green comes back and he's more like the March version of himself, the sky's the limit. If he's January Jalen Green or December Jalen Green, that lottery looking real tantalizing.
And what you guys do in the offseason too. How because I'm not sure that you guys just completely run it back. I do think that they're going to do something to upgrade that roster on some level. It might not be anything drastic. It's not like, yo, we're moving toward a star. No, I don't think you're going to do that because, you know, Houston is one of those markets where you can get a guy to come in as a free agent. But I do think that you do something to upgrade that roster. So I do think that matters. But, I mean, Leaf just said, what about Sacramento? Well, we can't leave out the fact that Malik Monk got hurt. If Malik Monk doesn't get hurt, I think that's part of them not making the playoffs. They had lost De'Aaron Fox for almost a month before the season. In the beginning of the season, he rolled his ankle. So they had lost him. That kind of hurt them. Mike Brown still doesn't know what he was doing with Sasha. So, and on top of that, they didn't sneak up on anybody like they did the year before. This is the same Sacramento team that the year before, they were a 12th seed. They go from a 12th seed to hosting a playoff series. Why is it ridiculous to think that Houston can't do the same thing? Considering that they were a 500 team, and the year before that, they had no direction whatsoever. There's no reason for me to think that Houston can't do that. None.
All right, y'all. I got some super chats. So let's go ahead and do this. Also, man, like the video. So a lot of y'all in here, y'all haven't liked the video yet. Go ahead and hit that like button. Do us and yourself a favor. Like some good content, y'all. Also, join this Players' Choice group chat right here. A lot of people from our community are in here. Most of us are in here. We talking hoop, we talking football, we talking 2K, we talking a little bit of everything. Talking hockey. So jump in here, have a good time with us. See y'all there soon. I got a super chat from DSG Piccolo. He said, "Y'all see that 16-year-old 7'5" Chinese girl, Zhang Ziyu?"
Ox, it looked like the the big kid in the yard with the small kids. That's what it looked like.
Who was that team that was playing? I was Indonesia or something. I don't know who that was playing. I seen, man, them girls was standing there, head at her waist, arms up like this. She just grabbed the ball, drop step. She just moving them. Their arms there, she moving them out the way. Just boom.
She was only 9 for 9.
She was dunking?
Like we should have given the ball.
I didn't see her dunking.
I didn't see her dunk.
She didn't dunk?
9 for 9. She should be 29 for 29. Give her the ball every play.
Bad point guards, Mars. She need to call it Wimby and ask for advice.
All she did was just go to the paint and go, "Hi."
Yeah, give her the ball every play. I don't know what's going on right now.
Hello.
She over there playing with Trey Jones and Jeremy Sohan.
Shoot on my guy Trey.
They couldn't get Wimby the ball, just like they can't get her the ball.
Wimby started. Wimby was coming around with his hands down at the beginning of the season, and then a lot of those times, like the play, the replay looked a lot worse than it was. I mean, there were some times where it's like, okay, are you really looking them off? But a lot of those clips, it was dudes that were facing this way. They turn around and Wimby had already cut. They're like, give him the ball. Like, when was I supposed to give him the ball? But there was some egregious plays too. I saw some egregious ones.
Blazo said thoughts on Antonio Reeves.
He's another one that you talked about, Mars, where I mean he averaged 20 a game at Kentucky his senior year, but he's another one with the age issue. He's 6'4", but he's 23 years old. He's got a long ball that he shoots really well, but he's 23 years old, so he's a little bit older. so they don't look at his upside, which could be really good. If this was 1996, he'd probably be a top 10 pick in the draft.
He should be. That's crazy to me.
I know it's nuts.
To say that age is an issue.
It's
not like he's 31.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He's 20. If you're under the age of 26, 27, then I would, if you're ready, especially if you play, I would rather have a guy that played 4 years college ball. He's gonna be more mature. He's gonna be ready to get to it right now. He's gonna understand the seriousness of what's going on. He's not gonna be out there getting pushed around. He's already got that grown man strength. If you're 23, I draft you.
In fact, Ox, I do feel like a lot of GMs, I feel like they want these dudes to stay in school, to be honest with you.
Sure. I would.
You see Jaime?
Right.
Yeah,
you're ready to play. You're a grown man.
Outstanding circumstance, I think, Jaime.
Is it though?
Why?
I don't think old players are going top 20 very often. I think it's an outstanding circumstance. I think he did well, but I don't think that's a recipe for it to continue.
I get what you're saying, outstanding circumstance, but this isn't the first year that a player has stepped in and played 3 or 4 years of college and been good. I mean, we can go through a long laundry list of guys who obviously not as much recently, but if you go back to the 2000s, early teens, it's guys that played 3-4 years that stepped in the league and was good.
But the game, I agree, but I'm saying the game has changed.
Yeah, it's gotten younger.
It has, and that, whether that's right or wrong, I keep saying I'm not saying how I feel about it. I'm just saying it's changed because Antonio, because I'll put it out there. When I'm scouting these Kentucky guys, I was watching Reed and Rob, so I wasn't focusing on Antonio Reeves, but he showed up on film when I'm watching these guys. He shoots very well. Like he's a great shooter. The playmaking I didn't see too much and everything else, but obviously, I mean, Kentucky a little bit political, so DJ Wagner was starting on that team just because he got a promise, even though Rob and Reed were clearly better than him. Similar thing with Justin Edwards, who probably shouldn't have been starting for the most part of the year. But once you get a promise, you start. But yeah, I think Antonio Reeves in a different time. Yeah, I think he's not lottery. I don't think he'll go lottery, but he's a first round pick just with his scoring ability. Now, the playmaking would cause concerns, and he's like a 2 guard. He's about 6'3", 6'4". So there's concerns obviously, and then obviously the age. But he'd be a first round pick, I think, in most drafts going back throughout history.
Mars,
I think he led them in scoring this season.
By a significant margin.
So think about that for a second, Ox. The Kentucky's leading scorer might be a second round pick.
Yeah, my thing is, and I'm not even talking about this kid. I don't know much about him. Like I've said before, I'm not really too hip to what's going on in the draft right now. But I'm just talking about the difference between them chasing 18 and 19-year-olds instead of drafting 22, 23, and sometimes 24-year-olds. There's a big difference in mentality, maturity, strength. You know what I'm saying? That 22, 23, you're still not too old to get better. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of guys in the league that get a lot better when they're 25, 26, 27. People are, really hitting their peak, getting better. So
I mean, look at Jaylen Brown. He clearly improved over the last 2 years.
Right. So I don't know exactly what it is that's the infatuation with chasing these 18, 19-year-old guys. I think they should just let them develop and get wiser, stronger, you know what I'm saying, more confident, and let them grow up and become young men. These are babies, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're throwing them in situations that some of them can't handle. And some of them can handle very well. So a lot of them that can handle it. But, to me, it's, I don't know. It's weird to me.
The cool thing about that, though, is why I actually like those guys. I mean, I want you to get drafted. I want everybody to get drafted as high as they possibly can. But a dude that sticks around for 4 years, he's more NBA ready today. Cool thing about that is them falling to the end of the draft is that they're going to be playing for a contending team more than likely. So imagine him coming in and playing for, let's just say, the Mavericks. Now he gets to step in and fill Tim Hardaway's role. And that's just for instance. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but I'm saying like Jaime Jaquez, for instance, he went to the Miami Heat. He was able to step in from day one and produce on a team that needed his production and used his production. So that's cool that these guys get to come in and play for a team that actually can that they can play on and give serviceable minutes, but also contribute to winning. The younger guys, for instance, like those projects, more than likely that is exactly what it is. You're a project. So you more than likely go to a worse team and you build with that team. These other guys, they get to come into a situation where they can plug and play immediately. So I do like that for them. Kundrill sent through a super chat and said Paul George should go to Indiana.
Come back
I don't
home.
think they can afford these players.
And why would Paul George go to Indiana? They already signed their guy. They got Pascal Siakam. They good.
Yeah.
Tito El Bandito said it's simple, Mars. Harden's a bum.
A bum. You're a bum.
Let's chill out on that. I ain't gonna go that far.
Ski Sama said thoughts on 7'9" Florida commit Oliver
7'9". A dude that's almost 8 feet tall.
Yeah, he's crazy too.
The
only reason he got a scholarship is because he's tall. He's not.
He can't play.
Yeah, 7'9". It's no way.
Who's better, him or the 7'5" chick?
Relative
to their competition.
She's actually not a bad athlete.
She looked better.
Yeah, she's not a bad athlete. She is.
How does he move? He moves like you'd expect a 7'9" guy to move.
Right.
But he's proportional. Like he's not hella skinny or hella big. Like he's proportionally sized.
Yep.
That is
crazy. He's just a really tall human being. Like he's not. He's not like
cats running up and down the court 7'9". We got
almost 8 feet tall.
7'5" chick running up and down.
8 feet tall. Am I in the Matrix? What the hell is going on, Ron?
Big ass. They're so weird.
What is happening?
7'9" is crazy.
A chick that's 7.5 feet tall. That's some circus shit, yo.
She give you work on the block.
Oh, come on, bro.
She put you in the trunk.
You can't do nothing with her. She's 7.5 feet tall. You can't.
7'9" is crazy.
Oh, I'm telling you, I'm losing.
I done caught some big ones.
If she bury you under the hoop and turn around and just put you in the rim.
She sit you down under that basket. Wait, nothing you could do.
7.5.
But pray you because you know when you playing a footer, like when you playing a footer on the block. You got to work early. You just got to work early. You can't get pinned under the rim. That's it. Like, that's all you can do. I got to work early, try to deny, and just make them uncomfortable. If they catch a little outside the block, you just get low, try to stay up under their hip. Other than that, you're cooked. You get put under that basket, boy.
Yo, chat, tomorrow we're going to watch these highlights because I haven't seen them.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. So
Ron, all she's doing is going to the rim. That's all she's doing.
The ball in it. She does the opposite of Rudy Gobert. She does not bring that ball below her head. She catches the ball. She keeps it here. 9 for 9.
That's good, coach.
Straight up. She got it down.
She looks like that big kid in the yard with all the little kids. That's what she looks like.
That's crazy. She looked like you know what I'm talking about, Ron. Anyways. Chill. I was wondering about the super chat before when he said James Harden, being a bum. Chill. The first time that you heard me say that on this panel, how'd you feel about that?
Well, considering who you was talking about, I was like, what the hell? I mean, you was talking about Embiid. I was like, what?
Well, the first time I called James Harden or Joel Embiid a bum, did you just disagree initially 100%?
I don't think they bums. Yeah, let's chill out on that. I ain't going that far. No, they ain't bums.
I might have went a little too far with the Joel's a bum thing, but
let's chill out on that.
Yo, right now, your bum starting 5. Well, I don't know the whole 5, but I know 3. You got James Harden at the 2, Luka at the 1, Joel at the 5.
That's all you ain't got to say no more bums. That's your bum squad. Like, damn. Oh,
but Tobias at the 4 for sure. So.
Tobias at the 3.
Tobias.
Tobias on the squad.
Crazy.
I know we got to bounce.
Oh, yeah,
all right, chill. I got one more super chat from Teddy Hart. He said, "How effective would Triple J and Bam be as a front court?
2 power forwards at the 5, in the front court. Hey,
yeah. That would be so nasty.
Yeah, that would be. That's fitting for this league right now too. They both can guard the 4 or guard the 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what's around them. Still, I think it depends what's around them. But I like it defensively. I like it a lot. Offensively, but defensively, I like it.
All right, y'all. Open Gym is next. Y'all be sure to tap in. The draft is tomorrow, so we can't wait to come up here and talk about everything about the NBA draft. Until then, y'all take it
Later.
Merry
But
Christmas,
what you-
guys.
Later.
All right, Sean.
Merry Christmas.
All right, y'all.